D-Mays, Fingen, and Donick 1025, The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen, and David Janes here with you. We are live at Bridgestone Arena as the Nashville Predators open a 5-game homestand against the Anaheim Ducks. Puck drop at 7, pregame at 6. As always, right here on 1025 The Game. It is Star Wars night at the Predators game tonight. This may come as a shock to most, if not all of you, but I am not up on my Star Wars.
That's a shame.
I'm not really either, because there has been several iterations of Star Trek. I mean,
well, first of all, don't call Star Wars Star Trek.
You're right.
Don't you dare do that.
I was about to yell at you.
Star Wars. There we go.
Max Hers already did that this morning. And
Star Wars. Okay, excuse me, everyone. Star Wars. There have been so many iterations and
prequels and sequels and spin-offs
and everything. So I lost
keep it. So there's only 3 movies.
After Darth Vader died and came back to life, I stopped. That was it.
There's nothing.
Once I found out he was his dad, I was done.
I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Spoilers, Derek Mason.
That's only old. I mean,
I know.
100 years old.
The 3 originals are the
Exactly.
real movies.
Thank you.
Everybody
There we
knows
go.
that.
Jeez, oh my God. Bunch of old guys talking about this. Jesus.
Nobody's commented on my tie yet. Come on.
I like your tie.
Hold on, let me get a closer look at this tie. Oh, it's a Star Wars tie.
I'm coming all in. Coming all in.
Okay, I see
The
it.
Force will be with me tonight. I don't know about everybody else, but the Force will be with me.
Usually, if you have the
fortune for college
the
game
Death Star?
day.
Of
No,
the Death
not
Star?
the location of the Death Star, but the
Of
location.
the Rebel base? The
on-
Rebel base?
Okay, can I get through this, please?
Yes.
The location, Derek, shush. The location for college game day on Vanderbilt's campus has been announced. The Wyatt Lawn.
I don't know who Wyatt is, but it's going to be on his lawn.
He was the chancellor.
Oh, okay.
When I was there, and not super popular among the athletes, but okay.
Oh,
Live
whatever.
from the Wyatt
Very
Lawn.
very ironic place to have it.
That tells you that
guy could care less
there we go.
about athletics.
Now, does the location of college game day on the Wyatt Lawn block students from the library?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
So
that sign will go.
That sign will be back.
Somebody's got to bring that sign
Yes,
back.
please.
For those who haven't heard it, what is the sign that you are referring
it's
to?
with a lot of punctuation and exclamation points. You people are blocking the library.
There we go.
So if you're going to Vanderbilt for college game day, the Wyatt Lawn is the place to be. That is where the college game day crew will be set up. And as I said, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I've seen a lot of the films. I'm aware of the lore of Star Wars. I do know there is a famous quote from Darth Vader, among others. There are multiple famous quotes from Darth Vader. There is one that is, "I find your lack of faith disturbing."
Yes.
And I can't say that about Titans fans, because I think their lack of faith is warranted in the Tennessee Titans. And we know that we are going to have to monitor a coaching search sooner rather than later for the Tennessee Titans. That process is apparently underway, although we're not going to start getting the names of coaches who interviewed until the offseason probably. But Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated had an interesting report on how the Titans are planning to approach their coaching search. I have a lot of respect for Albert Breer, and I can tell that he has cultivated a lot of sources within the Titans organization. He has done a lot of good reporting on the Tennessee Titans when they drafted Cam Ward, when they fired Brian Callahan. Albert Breer has had his finger on the pulse. So when I read what he writes about the Titans, I certainly it lends it a lot of credibility, is what I am trying to say. So here is part of what Albert Breer wrote about the Titans head coaching search. Quote, "The next thing Amy Adams Strunk has to give her football people is time." Pause. That's funny, because we know that Amy Adams Strunk is not one for giving her football people time, but I digress. He writes, the Titans owner's issues have been documented over the past week. She's had to face a lot of difficult yet valid criticism. So as the organization pulls itself from the ashes of the past week and really the past 3 years and charts yet another course to turn things around, it's on Strunk to trust the people she's entrusting. Those people, as of this writing, are President of Football Operations Chad Brinker and General Manager Mike Borgonzi. Now, I know that probably upsets Derek Mason because he wants Chad Brinker nowhere near the coaching search. He wants Mike Borgonzi to lead the coaching search, but Chad Brinker himself said that he and Borgonzi will lead the search. More from Albert Breer, talking about Amy Adams Strunk. Her best move would be to stay out of it. Agreed. She primarily did in the GM search as Brinker tabbed Borgonzi, and I actually think the early returns on that hire are pretty decent, with a strong set of front office hires after the GM decision. Here's the meat of the note. That's currently the plan as I understand it. Brinker and Borgonzi will lead the coach search without a search firm. They'll lean on the group they've assembled, which includes former GMs Dave Ziegler and Reggie McKenzie, as well as a rising young exec and Dan Sagany, who I learned today is the Titans Vice President of Player Personnel. The research to fuel it has already started. The study includes things, for example, like the track record of second-time head coaches with plus 500 records and coaches with 5+ years of play calling experience before their hire. So Albert Breer, Willie, and Derek shedding some light on how this coaching search is starting.
Brinker being a part of it, wasn't he a part of the last coaching hire? And we see how that ended up very quickly. The paint is not even dry on what would happen, and y'all are putting him in charge of it again. I would love for Borgonzi just to do it all. Find the coach. You're the middle person between Borgonzi and Amy or whoever else. You're the middle person. Let him, because he's had this, he's seen it happen. He's been a part of it, like a real part. They credit him on a lot of things there in Kansas City. So to me, let him head it up. Be there for support or whatever else it is, but allow him to head this up. Allow him. There's reasons why they brought McKenzie and those guys in years ago. What was it, a year or two ago?
This year, I believe.
This year. It was all preparing for all of this. That's what it was preparing for. They didn't want to hire an outside firm, probably because they didn't want to pay the money. So you go out and get experienced GMs that have been a part of winning organizations. I'm sure Brinker and what's his name from? I just left me from Green Bay that they brought in. The other guy from Green Bay, McKenzie. There we go. I don't know why I lost it. But he and McKenzie, I'm sure they crossed paths, or he worked with McKenzie when McKenzie was in Green Bay. So they have a history. They were building. Now, if you look back at this, and maybe I'm completely wrong in all of this, this was happening behind the scenes of the making, right in front of our face. They go hire McCoy. They bring on McKenzie and all these other people. And then follows that with firing a coach. And now we're not going to use a firm. We're going to use these. And this may be the best route to go. I don't know. But this didn't just happen by chance. They set all of this in motion on how they wanted to proceed because they knew they were going to fire Brian Callahan. They knew it. Second-year head coach that bombed the first year. New quarterback. We don't know how far along he's going to come. The roster is depleted. We got to rely on young guys. Don't you think they saw this coming? So to me, let Borgonzi handle it. He with McKenzie and those guys. Be that person in the middle, for Amy that goes back and is sort of this back and forth. But I wish they just let him handle it. Meaning Borgonzi.
I completely agree. I think Borgonzi should be the guy, and Brinker can help in whatever way. Everybody else who's there can help, but Borgonzi should be the guy. And I agree that the ownership should really go along, delegate, and make the hire. I completely agree.
One texter says, "Can you guys please explain what Chad Brinker does? Do other teams have a person who does what Brinker does? To me, in my very limited knowledge, he just seems like someone who gets in the way and muddies things." Well, I will read to you what his job description is on the Titans website. As president of football operations, Brinker provides executive leadership and direct oversight for the entire football staff, reporting directly to Titans controlling owner Amy Adams-Strunk.
He's supposed to set up the infrastructure,
Yeah.
which they were very much lacking in before he got there. They didn't really have an infrastructure. They just kind of had GM coach. They had scouts. They had assistant GMs, but they didn't have the modern things like analytics department, the sports science, all of the things that teams have now. So Brinker was tasked to put that together. It also helps to have somebody, especially when you fire 2 GMs, which they have, to have somebody that is a football person of some sort who is the liaison between the owner and the coach, or the owner and somebody. Otherwise, the owner has to make the hire, or you have to hire a search firm, right? That's it's a plush job. It's pretty plush. You answer to the owner, and that's it. And then you can kind of say, well, I got the final say over here, or he's got the final say over here. And, remember who brought Chad Brinker in?
Yes, Rand.
Yeah.
See what Rand is?
Yeah.
But it reminds me, and I'm comparing these two individuals based on not the whole job it entails, but just portions of it on how I sort of view it. Brinker, to me, is sort of like a Jeff Diamond. He's that guy between the GM and the owner. Now, Jeff may have had more responsibilities. Jeff, he was out there more, but that was a different team back then. I think we had ingratiated ourselves to the fan base and them in return. So to see Jeff Jeff Diamond, or to see Floyd out and do it, it was normal. So that part, I'm not sure Brinker is, but the other part being the meat and sort of like the middle person between the GM and the owner, that's sort of what Jeff was tasked to do, especially during that time. Do you agree, Willie, with he and what was going, the whole Fisher, Floyd, and him being the middle person, sort of, kind of?
Yeah, I think that was, if I remember correctly, a byproduct of there was a dispute on who had the authority to do what between Floyd and Jeff. Floyd Reese, I think, was strongly pushing for staff changes. Jeff Fisher wanted to protect some assistant coaches on the staff, and there was a dispute on who had the final say in that. And that is a little bit of where Jeff Diamond came in.
Okay. So I guess
then a few years later,
he was out.
They both kind of were like, we don't really need this guy.
Yeah.
And it was and unfortunately for Jeff Diamond, who was, I think, a pretty good
executive.
He came from the Vikings. He
was the exec of the year.
He ended up being
from the Vikings.
Power played out of there.
Yeah.
Gary says, why would Brinker not want Borgonzi to lead the search if he's on the hot seat?
Because Brinker's not on the hot seat.
He's not on the hot seat?
No, his seat is so cold. I mean, he wasn't mentioned in any of this, what's been going on the last year. He has been not mentioned. He has been so washed clean, it's pathetic. Unless I haven't heard. Every time his name is brought up, it's like clearly, like quickly move by. They're not in the business. He's covered. He's good. So I don't. Where's he's on the hot seat coming from? Unless Amy changes, which she can.
You know what word comes to mind?
Well, that's what happened with Jeff Diamond.
Yeah,
like it looked good for a while, then all of a sudden,
bam,
he was out. With the Adams family, you never know. Am I wrong? Look at the history.
If you're just looking
Look at the history.
yes,
of
if
the
you're
family,
looking at the
it's a
history,
family-run
yes,
business.
you are
The
not.
family does what the family wants.
You're not trying to, cast dispersions or anything. You're just looking at the history.
Just looking at the history.
Yeah, and that's what it says.
The word that comes to mind when I think of Chad Brinker, and I do not have my bell handy, is Machiavellian. Ding! Are either of you familiar with the word Machiavellian?
I'm familiar with it.
Suggesting the principles of conduct laid down by Machiavelli. Specifically, thank you, marked by cunning, duplicity, or bad faith. Now, perhaps that's a bit strong, but from afar, it feels very Game of Thrones-ish in the Titans front office. You got to do what you have to do to get ahead.
Look at Willie's face.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but I think there's a lot of TV series that we all have watched that have this dynamic, right?
Succession. How about Succession?
There you go.
Yeah.
The Godfather.
Yes. Yeah.
If you want to get a little more harsh about it.
I'm not going all the way there.
I'm pretty sure Game of Thrones
when you
is
when you have a the family. When you have the family-run business, there's a lot of stuff going on in the family.
I'm not saying you took it all the way to the meat locker, like the cold locker. Put them in the cold locker. Hang them up. No, I'm not going.
By the way, Zach on our text line says, Willie, that your tie is legendary.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a legendary tie.
There's only one Star Wars night per season, so you got to bring it out.
Well, you could perhaps attend a Star Wars night on the road if the Predators are the
possible.
visiting team.
It's possible.
Which guy? I'll save that for later when we start talking about the Predators. But I got a question.
Okay.
In regards to players and Star Wars night.
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated shed some light on how the Titans will handle their coaching search. Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi will lead the search. No search firm. They'll lean on a group that includes former GMs Dave Ziegler and Reggie McKenzie, a rising young exec in Dan Sagany, who is the Titans Vice President of Player Personnel, and more. 615-737-1025. We'll get back into this conversation coming up next. A reminder, since we are at Bridgestone Arena, that Barry Trotz, Predators GM, will join us live right here at Barrel House at 5 o'clock. We have yet to interview Barry Trotz in person this season. Both of our previous interviews were over the phone. So it will be nice to have Barry Trotz live and in living color right here at Barrel House. 615-737-1025. The MTSU Blue Raiders will take on Delaware tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Catch all of the action on Totally Hits 93.3, with coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at TotallyHitsNashville.com.
I would say this. Like, I think just knowing what I know about Brinker and Borgonzi, who will run the search, by the way, my understanding is there will not be a search firm involved in this one. My sense is that like they will lean towards experience. Like I don't, and to be fair, like like Matt Nagy has experience, right? Like Arthur Smith has experience. So those guys check that box too. I think McCarthy's in that mix as well. Obviously, he's got the relationship with Brinker from Green Bay. So I think like that those guys like are sensible names. We could talk about some of the wild cards too if you want.
So here's a couple.
Here's what I don't see them doing. I think it's either going to be a guy who's been a head coach before or an ex-player. One or the other.
That was Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated on his podcast, shedding more light on the Tennessee Titans' approach to their coaching search. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Looking for someone with experience? Looking for an ex-player? Are those the boxes that should be checked? Oops, I said a banned phrase. That's okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We will excuse it today.
Okay, thank you.
This week. Again, I've said what my criterias are.
And for those who did not hear this last week, why don't you quickly recap what your non-negotiables are and what your requirements are for this position if you are going to be the next Titans head coach?
He cannot come from the college ranks. That's my non-negotiable.
He can have college experience,
yes,
but he can't be a current college coach.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or hasn't coached in the NFL in 5-10 years and then all of a sudden want to come back because, he was in whatever. But no, I do not want a college coach. That's my hard line drawn in the sand. What I want is somebody with experience as a head coach. That's what I really want. Someone that is not necessarily a play caller on either side. He can do it if he needs to in a pinch, but he's going to delegate those priorities or those responsibilities to people that have done it and has been successful. So I don't want no whiz kid, the next McVay. I don't want somebody trying to be. You just tried to hire a guy that was like the guy, that was like the guy, that was like the guy, which means ain't none of them like the guy. They're so far removed from the guy, it's pathetic. Okay, really, Brian, good coach, but he wasn't ready to be a head coach. So I don't want no whiz kids. No, I don't want anybody that's trying to show how smart they are. I want someone that could be a CEO and, like Willie said, a leader of this team. That's what I want. Someone with experience. I want to see you've done it. You've had a little success. You've had some failures. But you know what both sides look like. That's why I said, give McCoy a shot. Give him a shot. Let's see how this goes. Because he fits that criteria. If a former player hasn't been a head coach, I don't want him. Why? You might as well just hire a first-time head coach again. There was an offensive coordinator. This team, in my opinion, and mine only, this team is too far gone for a first-year head coach. They are, or college. They need someone with experience. That's why I reference Jeff Fisher and him, getting that job or maintaining his job once they moved to LA. Why? Because he'd been through that before. He understood it. He knew what it was about because he moved from Houston to here as the head coach. So I want a guy that understands what it's like and been there and had some success, but had some failures too. It don't need to be all roses, but I don't want a first-time head coach.
So let me ask you this, Derek. Based on all of your criteria, which available coach meets the most of them?
Mike McCarthy. It's simple. And that's what everything's going to be tied back to because Bridger said it. They have history, he and Brinker.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, let Borgonzi be the guy that says, okay, we're going to hire Brinker. Not mean we're going to hire McCarthy. Not you, Brinker, because you have a history with him or whatnot.
Well, what about Matt Nagy? Matt Nagy has history with Mike Borgonzi from their shared time in Kansas City. Matt Nagy has been a head coach. He's worked with a young quarterback.
He's an offensive coordinator. That's what Matt Nagy is. He excelled at being an offensive coordinator.
How about Arthur Smith?
Arthur is sort of like Nagy.
Okay.
But because Arthur has been in this organization, he understands the owner. That may be a little bit different. But I look at Nagy, you had the first pick in the draft with a quarterback, and you destroyed it. Completely destroyed the quarterback. So much so they got rid of you. You were gone, like quickly. You destroyed that quarterback. People were questioning whether this dude could play in the NFL. Should he been the first round pick? And you see what Ben Johnson is doing with him. So it wasn't the quarterback. That's the first thing I'm looking at. You had Caleb Williams.
Well, you're confusing Matt Nagy with Matt Eberflus.
Yes. No, Nagy was there last year, and he got fired, didn't he? No, he wasn't. You're right.
Nagy was with Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky, yes. And they still didn't do anything.
Yes.
My fault. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But
Matt's who coached the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Just like Mike's who coached the Tennessee Titans. There are a lot of them.
Well, didn't he have the kid before Caleb?
Mitch Trubisky, yes.
Yes, he had Trubisky.
Yes. So Trubisky was there, didn't have any success.
Nagy did have a winning record in 4 years with the Bears, 34-31. He went 12-4, 8-8, 8-8, 6-11.
So
they had the one real good year where they hit the double doink, missed field goal.
Exactly.
The last play.
And then every year after that, it continued to go downhill.
I would really like, because the person that's going to take this job is going to take over a team that is still maybe not bottomed out yet. That's how bad it is. I don't know what condition Cam Ward's going to be in at the end of the season when this guy takes over. He's going to be, as we mentioned, he's going through a gasoline fire right now. They're trying to keep him from just getting burnt to a crisp, right? He's going through a tough struggle. It's the worst case scenario. So, in the roster, you're inheriting basically nothing. So it can't just be a whiz kid. Hey, I got this great new offensive scheme for your quarterback. No, it's not that simple. It's going to be a culture thing. So the one that comes to mind for me, and this is not realistic now, but a guy like, and I don't know if there is another guy like this, but a Bill Parcells, when he took over the Patriots, he came out of retirement. The Patriots were like the Titans. They had been an embarrassment for a good while. Between the time that they got blasted by the Bears in the Super Bowl in '85 with the Fridge and those guys, they kind of had a decline for a better part of a decade where they were irrelevant for a while. And he came in and he built it back up. And the table was set for Belichick when he came in. And in between that, do you remember who the coach was between Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick? He's still coaching today.
Is he still coaching?
Yeah.
Wow. Not Bill was at Bill Cowher. He was already in Pittsburgh, but he's not coaching anymore. Coaching still head coach?
It's really interesting. Yeah. Pete Carroll.
I was going to say Pete Carroll, but I don't know why. Wow.
But I mean, so.
But in between that, Pete had some good years.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad.
They ran him out of there, I guess. Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Though, like this can't just be your run of the bill. Hey, I was the coach before over here, and I had some success, or it didn't work out over here. We had some good times, but this has got to be the right guy. Like this can't be your buddy. Like the Mike McCarthy sounds good. I would like to have seen somebody who's gone through a build before, who can really build a culture, because man, they don't have anything to hang their hat on right now. This is a special assignment. It's not like DeMeco Ryans who came in, and they had been through some bad times, but they had the big windfall of draft picks from Deshaun Watson. They hit it big. They drafted a good quarterback. They used a lot of the draft capital. They got Will Anderson. So they had been building for a couple years. They had been bad.
He hit it like Vrabel did.
And he was the right guy, right job. Vrabel is
same thing.
Yeah. And Vrabel's team had already won some. Ryan's they had not. But this is a team this is not a team on the verge of winning. That's the problem.
Not a lot of games anyway.
I mean, because if you get the wrong guy, it's just going to be this is where you worry about history repeating or just get into a vicious cycle of, well, they're losing, so let's get the next guy in here. It's got to be somebody who can go through some more bad times and build.
Here is a name who pops up on the text line frequently. Now, it may be the same person texting this name over and over and over again. So I don't know. But it is a name I see a lot on the text line. But he does not meet my criteria. And I don't think he meets Derek's criteria. And that's Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is currently the Browns defensive coordinator. He has spent multiple stints in the Tennessee Titans organization. So he's familiar with the organization. He's familiar with the Adams family. But he hasn't been a head coach in more than 10 years. He last coached the Detroit Lions in 2013.
And what was unique about the Lions when he took over?
0-17, but they were a building team.
0-16.
So in 16.
Yeah. They only played 16. Yeah. They probably would have lost to 17.
17 too.
If they played 17, they would have lost to 17.
Oh,
but
man.
he has been through a build. I do think he definitely has a lot of good things that he's bringing to the table. I like Jim Schwartz. I think he's a good leader. He definitely knows the organization. He loves Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
He is a brilliant defensive coach. There's no question about that. And I think that experience in Detroit would serve him very, very well.
So he coached the Lions from 2009 through 2013 when he was 43 through 47. 2-14, 6-10, 10-6, 4-12, 7-9 for a total record of 29-51.
He hasn't been a coach.
The first year
he hasn't been a head coach in 12 years.
No, and that's what I'm getting to. He
Yes.
has not. He's been. I would ask myself, because he's still in the coaching circles.
Yes, he's the DC in Cleveland.
He's on his
He's
carousel.
done a very good job with that defense.
He's if you want to get your defense straight, you hire guys like him. You know, you hire guys like Schwartz that has been proven that he's one of the best defensive minds out there in the last 15, 20, longer than 20. It's been about 20 years. But you got to ask yourself, why hasn't his name been floated around in other head coaching jobs? Not to say that would be like a hard no, but your last coaching job was in 2013. And since then, you have not gotten a sniff, like a real legitimate sniff for a head coaching job.
But he has been part of some very good teams when he was with Philly.
Exactly.
They won was he not the defensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl?
Yes, he was in
2017. He served as coordinator for the Eagles defense.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been on some winning teams.
No,
and the other, remember too, the last good Titans teams. Remember how bad their defense was in 2020? Like, he came in as a consultant, and it was a very sensitive subject. Mike Vrabel didn't like talking about what Jim Schwartz did. I don't know how that worked. That was an odd thing.
But the Titans didn't even look at him the last go around. So what makes you think that? I understand
because
people inquiring about the Titans,
the state
about
of the
Jim
team,
Schwartz.
The state of the team is different. I'm not saying that he is hands down the number one candidate. I'm saying that is the type of candidate that I think would bring a lot to the table in what this franchise needs.
I understand that. I'm not saying he wouldn't be on my list of individuals, but you got to ask yourself, since 2013, why hasn't your name been more prevalent in as far as head coaching jobs? Yeah, you can come in here and you can straighten out my defense like nothing else. But people don't, they want you as that. They don't want you as the head coach. And listen, I'm just going by because he's a hell of a defensive, and that's what they're doing now, hiring these, whiz or these brilliant defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators. They're hiring them to be head coaches eventually. So why was it he only got one shot at being a head coach and then nothing after that? That's what I would want to know.
615-737-1025. We will take your thoughts on the Titans coaching search. 615-737-1025. Preds fans, Smashville Live returns tomorrow night at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue at 6. See your Predators star players up close and personal and also get autographs and pictures. The Preds player guests will be Adam Wilsby and Tyson Jost. That's tomorrow night at Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue and only on 102.5 The Game. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick 102.5 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you live at Bridgestone Arena. Predators versus Ducks tonight at 7 o'clock. Pre-game starts at 6 right here on 102.5 The Game. Barry Trotz will join us live at Barrel House at 5 o'clock. But we're talking about the Titans coaching search. And, Derek, you were wondering before the break, we were talking about Jim Schwartz because Jim Schwartz has been a popular name, at least on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, as someone the Titans should interview for their head coaching vacancy. You asked why Jim Schwartz hasn't received more interviews as a head coaching candidate since leaving the Detroit Lions as their head coach more than 10 years ago. Ron says it's because he's not flashy, and the media likes flashy, big-name coaches. That's why Schwartz's name hasn't been mentioned. Another texter says Schwartz may not want to be a head coach. He may have stated that in a conversation with someone and it became common knowledge. Not everyone wants the big job. He may just be more comfortable being a defensive coordinator.
It could, I mean, listen, that could be part of it. It could be a lot of things, but that would be one of the questions that I would want, some clarity on. Not to say that it would, eliminate him from, potentially being a finalist for the job or getting the job, but you just wonder why, because he's such a brilliant defensive coordinator. He understands the game and looks at the game ways that probably other coaches don't from a defensive standpoint. There's reasons why the Tennessee Titans brought him in as a consultant, and immediately things started to get better. He goes to Cleveland. Their defense gets immediately better. No matter where he goes, he's going to straighten out the side of the ball that he knows best, and that's defense. So that would be my question. Why? Because yes, you've been successful in this league, and you've been on some really good teams. You've helped engineer some really good defenses. You've won a championship with a team that had one of the best defenses. So why is it that his name hasn't been, mentioned in at least, let's say the last 3 coaching cycles?
Hair Metal Henry on our text line, who is also complimenting Willie's tie. Very popular tie that you're wearing, Willie. Says, time for James Franklin to come back home, said someone somewhere, probably.
Probably not.
As Mike Vrabel would say, probably not.
No, him coming back, nah.
All right, Brad in White House.
My question is, does James Franklin end up in the SEC? Somewhere.
I say yes.
Yes. Florida.
Or what if Lane Kiffin leaves for Florida and James Franklin takes over Ole Miss?
Is James Franklin Ole Miss? No. I don't
We'll
think
see.
James
We'll
Franklin's
see.
Ole
That's a
Miss.
better question for Willie, I
don't
think.
know.
Yeah.
James Franklin wants to win. James Franklin will go and give your program a boost. He will
That
go
he
win.
will.
He will have energy. He's going to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah, he's going to have a job.
He's going to go somewhere, and he'll get paid handsomely for it. And that'll be good for Penn State because it offsets, I think, what they have to pay him.
Yes. Brad in White House has 4 names here.
Okay.
And Brad, I'm just going to tell you, I am poo-pooing all 4 of them.
Wow.
They all suck. I do not like any of these, but I'm going to list them anyway. Okay. Number 1, John Gruden. You may have heard me, I think it was last week, saying, under no circumstances would I hire John Gruden to be the Titans head coach.
For his coaching or for what happened with Washington?
Well,
or the emails or whatever that got him.
He's suing the NFL, right? So they're embroiled in a lawsuit, which I don't know if the Titans want to sign up for that. By the way, another name on Brad's list is Brian Flores, who is also embroiled in a lawsuit with the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think that eliminates the 2 of them, perhaps. My point with Gruden is, I first of all, his second stint with the Raiders was not impressive. He won the Super Bowl more than 20 years ago. There's all of the things he said in those emails, which I do not like. I think Gruden's standing as a head coach is a bit overrated. I just don't like, I don't really have any other reasons. I just don't love the idea. I don't love the idea. You can disagree if you'd like. Bill Belichick, hell no. On
Flores, Flores
Belichick
was on a staff, right?
Yes.
Flores was on.
He's the Vikings defensive coordinator, isn't he?
Pittsburgh. He was in Pittsburgh. He went to Pittsburgh for a minute.
And then he went to the Vikings,
yes,
right? And started running their defense.
Vikings, yeah.
So I mean, he's coaching in the league. So
he's still coaching.
So I don't know about the suing the league. I don't know if that prevents him from being a candidate. You could see why it went south in Miami.
Yeah.
They were basically undermining him. I could see why he's suing the league. So I don't know. Flores is a pretty interesting name to me.
Here's a name I haven't heard.
But you said Belichick is
Belichick.
one.
Belichick is one. I have stated that if the Titans were to do that, I would quit on the spot. I would quit on the spot. If you're not watching what's happening in Chapel Hill, if you're let me rephrase. If you're watching what's happening in Chapel Hill and you think that an NFL team is going to take another shot on Bill Belichick, you are sorely mistaken.
It's the wrong time and team for Belichick. If they were more in a foundation and position to win, I don't see Belichick as a guy that would build it from scratch. You need a builder from scratch here.
And the final name, one I have not heard from Brad at White House, Jack Del Rio. Do you want to know where Jack Del Rio is coaching right now?
Wow. Is he a line coach? Is he a high school?
He is not coaching in the NFL. He is not even coaching in North America.
Wow.
He is the head coach of the Paris Musketeers. That is Paris, France.
Okay.
As opposed to Paris, Tennessee?
Yeah.
Or Paris, Texas. That is in the European League of Football.
Okay. Are the rules the same?
That's a good question. It looks like it was built off the ashes of NFL Europe.
What is? Can you give me a little idea about the Paris Musketeer logo? Is it like? Does it look like the Buccaneer at all? Like for Tampa Bay? Is it an offshoot of it?
It looks kind of like a fleur-de-lis, similar to what the Saints wear on their helmets.
Okay.
It's a nice logo. They have some nice uniforms.
Okay.
But Jack Del Rio is getting paid to coach football in Paris, France. Why give that up?
I was going to say that you may not want to give that up.
Yeah, he may not want to, because at least he may have security over there.
He was a senior advisor for Wisconsin in 2024, and he was the defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders for several years.
Let's go back to Brian Flores.
Sure.
Because I think him, like McCarthy, but McCarthy has more games up underneath his belt. But I think like McCarthy, in a sense, he went to Miami, and now the stuff that is coming, all this stuff that is coming out, he went to Miami and they were not good. First season 5-11, second season I think they were 10-6, 10-5, somewhere around there, 10-6. So he showed, and then the third season, it just everything just. I think they got him out of there early.
Well, remember the
in
story.
That last season.
There were some things leaked that the owner was actually hoping that they would lose so they could get to it.
Exactly.
Right?
So, and
look how that's worked out for the Miami Dolphins.
He wouldn't tank, basically.
Right.
That's what Flores said. He wouldn't tank. So they went from 5-11 to 10-6. That shows me a guy that was building something there. Like Mike Vrabel, he may fit that mold of, I want to be a leader. I know defense, and I can coach defense. But I have been in this position before. I've had I had a good season. I took over when they were bad. We went 5-11. The very next season, we went 10-6. And then they're asking me to lose on purpose. Like, what is that? I would be looking at Flores. I really, from a leadership standpoint, I would be looking at Flores.
I agree.
This is a random text. This has nothing to do with our conversation, but I'm going to read it anyway. One texter says, D-Mace, is it true that Theo Vaughn bought your house? He said that on game day a couple of weeks ago. I never know when to believe that, dude.
I don't know if he bought my house or not. How many houses are you talking? Are you
talking
talking about my last house?
Well, remember, there is
another Derek Mason.
Yes, there is another Derek Mason.
You know what? Because Coach Mason probably sold his house no more than a year or two ago. I think it was probably him.
You may have the wrong Derek Mason.
I've been living in my house for about 4 years now.
This would just be the latest chapter in there's more than one Derek Mason in Middle Tennessee.
So more than likely it was MTSU's
at times get
head
confused.
coach.
That's D-E-R-E-K Mason, not D-E-R-R-I-C-K
Absolutely.
Mason. Ron on our text line says, are the Titans looking for a coach who calls plays, or would they want an offensive coordinator to call plays? If so, I would take Byron Leftwich, as offensive coordinator. Look what he did in Tampa. Derek does not want a coach who calls plays. On either side of the ball.
But he hasn't been in that position, so that would eliminate him for me.
Well, I don't think Ron is suggesting Leftwich as head coach. He's suggesting him as an offensive coordinator.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's up to the. I mean, he did have success with Tom, and wasn't he there the first year with Baker, or he stayed a year after Tom, I think, or was it just those 2 years with Tom in Tampa? But
Byron Leftwich was the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers between 2019 and 2022.
So basically, 2 years with Tom, and then a year. It would have been Darnold or Baker. Was it Darnold? No,
they had that weird year,
where they were changing quarterbacks.
Right. I don't think they had Baker right away. If I recall, there was a.
But he might have been
his first season in 2019. I guess that would have been Jameis Winston's final season.
Yes.
in Tampa. So he had Winston in 2019. He had Brady in 2020 when they won the Super Bowl. He had Brady again in 2021, and he had Brady in 2022.
Okay, it all depends on what they want to run. I mean, you know,
Well, here's the question.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how his
because I don't
X's
know
and
it
O's
exactly.
fit with what Cam is doing now.
Absolutely.
I would for the offensive coordinator position, which is different than the head coach.
Uh-huh.
I would try not to throw a completely different language and different system at Cam Ward if I could help it.
Exactly.
I think that'd be worth thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that doesn't affect who your head coach is. So let's first things first. And I agree. There's this notion, I think, this trend that has been, hey, you gotta hire this great offensive mind for your head coach.
Here's a
I don't
dilemma.
know.
Here's a dilemma they may find themselves in. Say if Bo Hardegree does a good job, like Cam continue to progress, which means McCoy, if that happens, McCoy more than likely he shoots up on the list as far as candidates for your head coach. If you don't hire McCoy, do you say whoever we hire, you got to hire Bo Hardegree? Because this is the offense we want to run.
That's a tough one. I don't know, but I think it would be
because I wouldn't want Bo to be the head coach. I wouldn't want him to be, regardless if he turns Cam around or not. I don't want him to be the head coach.
615-737-1025. We will continue to take your thoughts on the Titans coaching search at 615-737-1025. But coming up next, before the season, Willie asks us 10 Titans questions that he feels will dictate the season. We have yet to review those after 7 weeks, and I'm a little nervous about some of my answers. And we will get to some of those questions and answers coming up next at 615-737-1025. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick is proudly presented by Bax Homeworks, which transforms kitchens, bathrooms, and living spaces into places you can't wait to come home to. Get a free estimate at baxhomeworks.com.
Hey, this is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD for some time. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a goal to shed some extra pounds, only to face disappointment. But I got some good news, okay? Because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
D-Mace, Fingan, and Donick 102.5 The Game. Broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. Predators versus Ducks to kick off a 5-game homestand tonight. Puck drop at 7, pregame at 6, right here on 102.5 The Game. Barry Trotz, Predators GM, will join us here at Barrel House in 1 hour at 5 o'clock. Trevor Maddich will join us in roughly 20 minutes. Also, be listening for the cue to call, because I have a 4-pack of tickets to give away to the Tennessee Volunteers Tennessee Volunteers intra-squad scrimmage at First Horizon Park this Sunday, if I could spit it out. So be listening for the cue to call at 615-737-1025, and you'll be able to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the Vols play an intra-squad game at First Horizon Park this weekend.
And we'll see who's
If
coaching.
Tony Vitello is still coaching.
I think he's going to be the manager of the Giants by then.
We'll see. Are there new reports today? I haven't seen any.
The speculation is it's still going to happen, that he is going to go to the Giants. But he keeps showing up at the practices.
Good for him.
Hey, he's still employed.
Taking it all the way to the end. I guess no hard feelings on either side.
You have to respect it. So before each Titan season, Willie Donick has a list of 10 questions that he asks all of us. And these questions he feels are critical to determining how successful the Tennessee Titans are going to be. Well, the Titans are 1-6, so they're not very successful. But Willie pulled out the scrolls. He pulled a few of those questions out. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit terrified by some of my responses from before the season. So, Willie, which questions did you pull out? Let's get started.
I think the design of these questions, as we discussed, after having the whole pre-camp and then watching the whole preseason, the themes of what needs to go right for them to have a season that they want to have, and if they go wrong, well, you can sort of imagine where these questions are going to go. Let me just buzz through these, okay, because there are some that we don't know yet. Cam Ward over or under 12.5 games played. We don't know how that's going to go, but right now, so far, he's played all the games. He's surviving. Calvin Ridley over under 1,100 yards receiving. We all said over. That is not looking good. We don't know how long he's going to be out. So that one is very much questionable. So here's another one that we can't answer right now. L'Jarius Sneed and Tajay Spears, over or under 17.5 games combined. I think Sneed has played more than maybe we thought he was going to. He has not missed a game so far, correct? But he's now injured. I don't know about what will happen in the next week or two, and Spears is now back.
By the way, Calvin Ridley is on pace for 821.7 yards per 17 games.
Okay.
So way under based on what we've seen so far.
Here are a couple of interesting ones. I think the most – well, and here's one that I think we can answer very quickly. Will the Titans have league average special teams?
No.
Adam said no. D-Mace and I said yes. I think they have been league average. I think DK is doing well. I haven't looked to verify. There's different ways to quantify that.
League average.
Yes.
Across the board.
So
with
night and day.
of
So they've made marked improvement there under Bones Fossil. I think we'd all agree.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get to the ones that I think are the really defining ones.
Oh, God.
Over or under 42.5 sacks allowed, which would be slightly over league average, but a cut down from where they have been. All of us did not have faith that they would be able to. We all thought they would allow more than 42.5. It's a good thing we said that, because they have already allowed 30.
Damn.
30. Cam Ward is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. 30 through 6 weeks.
So
they're 1-5. Is that right?
1-6.
1-6.
Wow.
So 7 weeks.
So they've allowed an average of 4.3 sacks per game,
Almost
which puts them on the pace.
man.
Which puts them on the pace for 73 sacks allowed.
And keep in mind that Mason Rudolph was one of the best quarterbacks in the league at not taking sacks last year, and he quarterbacked a number of the games. So we can conclude, again, that Cam Ward's numbers look a little too similar to Will Levis than we would like to see at this time.
Yes.
At
I mean,
least
it's reality. It's the numbers.
At least it's not 100 like who? The Eagles? Was it the Eagles?
Randall,
the
Randall
80
Cunningham.
The Buddy Ryan Eagles of the 86, I think it was. After he left the Bears, they wanted. He allowed his quarterbacks to get hammered. Randall Cunningham and Ron Jaworski.
Oh, man.
Okay, so let's talk about Titan sacks. This was an Adam question, actually. Over or under 32.5 for the season? I said over. D-Mace said over. Adam said under. Right now, the Titans have 13 sacks.
13 sacks in 7 games.
Yes, so it is going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be close.
So they're on pace for 31.6.
Oh boy! And Jeffrey Simmons is out.
Yeah,
Jeffrey Simmons is hurt.
But Big Tavondre got a sack last week.
Meatloaf
The big
got a
fella,
sack. He did get a sack.
exactly.
He got a sack. All right, here's an intriguing one. More combined receiving yards. This group of youngsters. Jim DK, Kyle Manor, Gunnar Helm, the 3 fourth-round picks. And we threw in as a little bonus Bryce Oliver, who's been hurt most of the time. He has 8 yards.
So he hadn't factored in.
He has 1 catch for 8 yards. And then the veteran placeholders. Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson, and Chig. Tyler Lockett, of course, this week got the pink slip. Or I guess requested to get out of there. It's a mutual, you're out here. So here's where we're at after 7 games. By the way, I said the youngsters would have more receiving yards for the season.
You did.
Yes,
You
did.
guys thought it would be the veteran placeholder.
Yes.
Wrong.
We're not wrong yet.
It's closer than you might think. 478 for the youngsters, 428
No.
for
Yeah.
the veterans. Surprisingly, Van Jefferson's got
That's what we
some
need to
yards.
come on. Exactly.
Yeah,
Van
that's
need to
how
come
you
on.
guys. Now remember, Lockett will not get any for the rest of the time. So you're down to Chig and Van.
So we can't count his numbers on other teams.
God, that's just so sad.
So it's
Thinking
looking,
about this Titans receiving core for this
but
upcoming game.
that is kind of a ray of hope, don't
Yeah,
you think?
it
That
is,
it's
it
the
is.
young guys
Yeah.
that have seized the
Exactly.
jobs and look like they might
The experience they've gained.
they might be a portion of a good receiving
Mhm.
core someday. If you get, you said it yesterday, D-Mace, if you can get the alpha to go with these guys, and we took Ridley out of the mix for these purposes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what kind of material do you have in this young receiving core that was kind of a buzz
Exactly.
in the preseason? So I think those guys are doing all right.
Yeah.
If you throw DK's numbers on special teams,
They're doing
he's a
even better
keeper.
than all
He's a
right.
keeper.
Yes.
and Helm looks good, I think.
Yes.
And Aya Manor, that one could go either way for me in terms of what you expect. Like, there's too many balls that he's close to but doesn't get.
Mhm.
Like, he hasn't gone to a next level since the beginning of the year. That one has gone up and down, but you've got something there, right? He's out
Yes.
there. Here's another one. Will Jeffrey Simmons be on the Titans all season? All 3 of us said yes. My thinking at the time was they would not have the guts to shop him. Now, this is a big story, and I think we're going to talk about this before the week is over, because Diana Rossini said everybody but Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward basically are on the block. Why would they not at least be shopping Jeffrey Simmons around just to see what you could get, if nothing else? If you don't like what you get. But is that an Amy Adams trunk saying you're not allowed to trade Jeffrey Simmons?
If the message is being put out there like that, then yes, it has, because that has to come from the top. The GM can't say, oh, he's completely, because the owner is like, well, what if I want it, So I'm sure it's either, I'm sure she's approaching it like this.
She's afraid to look bad.
Jeffrey
Don't you think?
Simmons is the only bright spot or star on my team
Right.
now. So I can't, she can't get rid of
Did you see the Titans defense on Sunday when Jeffrey Simmons
him.
had to
Exactly.
leave the game?
Absolutely.
But
Yikes.
they're getting beat anyway.
Yes,
They
I
shouldn't have a
I
win.
completely agree. I'm just saying
they're
that's what Amy
fortunate to
Adams
have
Strunk
one.
might be thinking.
Right. I think that's not the right long-term thinking, if you ask me. I think the best way to build your roster back is, because of the stage he's at in his career, to see if you can get a windfall. If you can't, then you can always hang on. You don't have to trade him. At least shop him around and see what the market is. Of course, he's got a hamstring injury now. So we did ask this question. These are all questions we asked before the season started. And here we are. Intriguing. Here's another one. Will Cam Ward finish in the top 3 of Offensive Rookie of the Year voting?
Nope.
At the time, he was odds makers.
Yes.
In the preseason, had him in the top 3.
Yes.
I'm not going to
In the
say
odds.
nope because we have
You
the bulk of
two
the
both
season.
said yes.
yes.
You two both said yes.
I'm not
I
going to
said
completely
no.
say no.
Are you kidding me? You think
Top
he
3?
can get the top 3 between now and then? He's the lowest rated quarter. He's 30th out of 31 in all the stats.
I'm
But
going to pull up
listen,
the
he
current
doesn't-
odds for this
He
award.
doesn't have to be. Listen, he doesn't have to be better than the current. He just has to be better than the rookie quarterbacks. That's it.
No, it's
The rookie-
offensive players.
That's what I'm saying. Just be better than the rookie offensive players. That's all. Just be better
Well,
than them.
Jackson
so you can
Dart
be
already is going to be getting more attention. He's in New York.
Yes, I get it.
That
But
is-
Jackson Dart isn't playing as great as
No,
people
but
think
that's just
he is.
one. Then
But
you got
yes.
Genty.
And
you've
then
got
Scatterboo is there. He's going to be thrown in there.
Scatterboo.
Ooh.
What's the wide receiver from Tampa?
Egbuka.
Ibuka. He's going to be in
Luka's having
there.
a really good year.
So
That's not
he's
happening.
still-
He's
still
not going
ha-
to get in the
I'm
top
telling
3.
you, these guys are going to hit that rookie wall. Everybody forgetting about that rookie wall,
That
right?
is wishful thinking. There's
Everybody's
no
going to
way.
hit that rookie wall.
Adam, you're not as optimistic. I can tell. You're punting on
and
that.
Cam,
You know you're.
he's
toast.
got- I'm not
gonna get
saying-
that right.
I didn't say he was going to win it, but I think he has an
Top 3.
opportunity
He's gotta
to
get
get
top
in
3.
top 3.
No way.
Yes.
It ain't happening.
How many games you got left?
A lot.
Thank you.
I know when I've been defeated.
No, I'm fighting this out. It ain't. That's it for the season. I didn't say 6 games in. So we got a long way to go. 7
Okay,
games
hold
in.
on. All right, here are the current odds for
Okay.
Offensive Rookie of the Year on ESPN Bet. Jackson Dart is the favorite
Of course.
at -115. Emeka Egbuka
Yes.
plus 225. Tyler Warren plus
Tyler
650.
Warren, I forgot about
he
him.
is
Oh
playing.
boy.
He's
Tyler Warren plus 650.
Yeah, he is balling.
Quinshawn Judkins
Yes,
Quinshawn
the running
Judkins,
back. Yes,
plus
he's playing
1,300.
Cleveland.
Ted McMillan plus 1,300. Ashton
playing well.
Genty plus 1,800. Cam Scatterboo plus
Yeah.
2,200. Notice who I haven't said yet.
Damn, yeah.
Travis Hunter plus 2,500. Dylan Gabriel plus 8,000. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt plus 8,000. Cam Ward plus 10,000.
But that's to win. but again, wording. Wording is very key in anything that you do or say.
I
That's
hear
to
ya.
win.
That's
That's,
to win it.
not the
That
top
is to win.
3.
One,
That's right.
So go ahead and give
Okay,
it.
so-
Those
2,
numbers
3,
are the
4,
numbers
5,
right
6,
now.
7, 8, 9, 10.
999.
He's 11th in odds. 11th.
There's still a chance. That's all I'm
You're
saying.
telling me there's a chance.
There are 10 players in front of him.
There's still a chance. We said top 3. Now who wins?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm giving
man.
up.
I'm not.
I
winning.
don't
I'm
know
giving
about
up.
that. Okay, so and this is the last one. What will the Titans' record be?
Ooh.
Donick and Fingan were in agreement.
At 5 and 12.
Was I more optimistic than
Of course you were, D-Man. 6 and 11.
Oh, one
6 and
game.
11.
One game
6 and
more.
That's
So we all in the same
but
boat.
5 was looking like a pretty high mountain right now, the way they're playing.
Don't
but
look like
I
they'll
said,
take
surely
that
they
down.
can't be as bad as they were last year,
Hold my beer.
or so we thought. We are going to have to unpack Derek Mason's faith in Cam Ward in
Oh,
this
man.
offensive rookie of the year.
Oh, we can. We can.
We'll get to it. We have a lot of time to discuss these things.
Yes.
One texter says, not even close to being top 3.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
All right.
It-
Listen.
It will be a big story if
As-
he even gets into the
listen.
conversation of the top.
Listen. They
That'd
thought.
be a great turnaround.
You know what? Last week, Denver was playing, and the team thought they beat Denver. And what happened? What happened? Denver came back, 20 seconds left. Well, 40 seconds, somewhere around there. They came back and they kicked a 61-yard field goal. Was it 61 or did they get closer to that? I think they may have get close. Yeah, they got closer to that. But that game was all but over with. The crowd was, the other team
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
and what happened? The game got over with.
That's right.
It's not over with.
Jackson on our text line says he can get in the top 3, but it won't be easy. Where was Knicks this time last year? Not in the top 3. I'll tell you that. I don't know if I can find that out for you.
Hey, man, I'm not saying Willie's answer didn't say he was going to win
Right.
the rookie of the year.
But we're
Offensive
not
That's what
Rookie
we
of the Year.
thought was the right
Right.
question.
But
Yeah.
it would be one thing if I just read those odds and he was like 5th. He was on the cusp. He's 11th in the odds.
He's a dark horse, okay? A long shot, okay? What
Now
do
he
you
is.
want?
Seabiscuit.
Exactly. Put your shackles on Cam Ward, okay? Put about 100 shackles on him.
Hey, it'd be a great story.
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
but it
A shekel. I mean money, people, not actual change. Okay,
Right,
I'm talking
right,
to money,
right, right.
people. That's what I'm-
Shekels.
Shekels.
With an E.
Yeah,
Shekels.
I call them shekels.
we thought that if he finished in the
Uh-huh.
top 3 or close to it, that would mean he had a good
Yes.
first season.
Mhm.
He's got a long way to go there. And as we said, the environment around him
Isn't good.
it's awful.
Yeah,
it's
not
it's
good.
about as hard as it could be right now. Hopefully they can improve that environment between now and the end of the season, and his performance will improve at least some. Enough to get him in the top 3, I'm not seeing it.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the Tennessee Titans. Trevor Maddich will join us coming up next. We'll get into the Titans with Trevor, 615-737-1025. But I did promise a ticket giveaway. So if you would like to attend Tennessee Baseball's intra-squad scrimmage on Sunday, this coming Sunday, October 26th, at First Horizon Park, be caller number 2 at 615-737-1025, and you will win a 4-pack of tickets to see the Tennessee Volunteers intra-squad scrimmage at First Horizon Park this Sunday at 1 p.m. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Pleased to be joined on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, by Trevor Maddich, who is brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trevor, another rough game for the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward, statistically, had a decent showing, but of course, that was overshadowed by a couple more turnovers, including another lost fumble. When you evaluate Cam Ward and the things that aren't working well for him right now, how correctable do you think those issues are?
Adam, I think they are largely correctable because the two biggest reasons that he's struggling right now are, number one, the team around him. They're just not very good. The receivers are not very dynamic. They're not getting a whole lot done. They're not making a lot of yards after the catch. They're not creating a lot of separation. And so I think that upgrading the receiver core will do wonders for Cam. Now, the other problem is that Cam is trying to win all these games. And I understand he's a professional athlete. His job as a quarterback is to do whatever it takes to help his team win. But right now, as a rookie, that actually hurts his team ability to win. And I think you take the fumble that slipped out of his hand early in the third quarter that ended up being a scoop and score for the Patriots is a great example of that. I mean, they had a play action pass. It was a good call. Jim DK, the wide receiver, was supposed to block Chase on the pass rusher, who it's a mismatch for the Patriots there. But all DK's supposed to do is get in front of that guy and slow him down enough. And then it looked like DK was supposed to leak out. Not sure because DK got beat immediately, just immediately. It was just abysmal. And so here comes Chason running directly at Cam. Cam goes to try to throw the ball as he's backpedaling. Ball slips out of his hand, turns into a fumble. Chason recovers for a touchdown. Well, what should Cam have done there? Okay, not his fault that there was a pass rusher in his face immediately, right? But he needs to know what to do if that happens. If that happens, don't try to make a play anyway. If that happens, don't make a bad play worse by trying to salvage it and turn it around. And this is what Cam, I think, can do to help himself and to help the team to a large degree, because he needs to get away from this idea of he's got to go out there and make wins happen. Instead, what he's got to do is go out there and make each individual play work the way that the play caller designed it, and then let the score take care of itself. So, for example, regardless of what the score is, drop back, look around, make the right decision, throw it to the right receiver on time, accurately. And if that's enough, great. And if it's not enough, fine. Because all he's going to do at this point in his career with the team that's around him right now is try to do too much, develop bad habits himself that he will have to unlearn down the road, and actually contribute to losses, not contribute to wins. So ironically, the best thing that Cam Ward can do to maximize his rookie season is to forget about the scoreboard, forget about winning. On this particular play call, what does the defense give me? What is my read? And that's exactly what I'm going to take. And if he does that, ironically, that will turn into wins down the road.
Trevor, after the game on Sunday, Kayshon Boutte, who caught a long touchdown pass from Drake May, called the secondary play of the Tennessee Titans lazy. This is not the first time this season that a Titans opponent has questioned the commitment level of the Titans. You may recall when the Colts played the Titans the first time this season, they're about to play again. Michael Pittman had a quote after the game, paraphrasing here. Yeah, we looked at them during pregame warmups. They weren't really bouncing around a lot. They looked like they didn't want to be there. How concerned are you that the Tennessee Titans have a commitment problem?
Willie, that's a great question, because the fruit is on the tree, isn't it? You could say, yes, they're playing with the vitality and the effort that they can possibly muster, and they can't do any more. And then if they're not good enough, they're not good enough. But you don't seem to see that. And it's very rare that you see NFL opponents make statements like that, because what they're saying when they call a team either lazy or uncommitted is something that they would never want to be said about them. They know what the ramifications will be to the team that they just did that to. And the Patriots just stomped the Titans. There was no reason to pile on. And yet Booty decided that he would go ahead and offer that. Now, is he right? Well, the fruit's on the tree, for goodness sake. The Titans were not really able to stop the Patriots for the most part. They had some good stretches, and I get it that Jeff Simmons went out in the first half with injury, and Snead went out in the third quarter, I believe, with injury. And so I understand that part. But so does Booty. And for him to say that to me is a horrific existential slam, not just to those players, but to their coaches too. Because now everybody's going to look at them as if, you know what, maybe they're not trying very hard. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't really want to win. Maybe they're just in it for the money. Players and coaches who are supposed to get the most out of the players, and then they have to overcome that stigma. That's a hard thing to do, and it's an awful thing to do if you're an opponent. Yeah, Booty and then Pittman for the Colts decided to do the same thing, and it's really bad that the Titans can't turn around and say, that's ridiculous. You can see the fruit on the tree. You can see the effort, and you can see that we're just not quite good enough yet. But you can see us playing hard. That's what the Titans have to be able to say, and I don't know that you can actually look at the tape and say that.
Well, you're right, Trevor, because not only do you have, basically someone, one of your peers coming out and say, hey, listen, that was just lazy football. You had it that week. You had it 2 weeks ago. But then, as a matter of fact, you had an anonymous source from the Oakland Raiders saying, that's just a bad team, man. I've never seen a team that bad.
Trevor, if you missed it, Michael Silver of The Athletic did a story. He actually came to Nashville to do the reporting before the Titans fired Brian Callahan, but he talked to an anonymous Raiders coach who said that the Titans were the worst team he has seen in the past 25 years.
So you have that. Yeah. You have, players right after you play in interviews saying, yeah, that was just lazy football, or those guys didn't seem like they wanted to play. To me, that's an indictment. If I'm Denard Wilson, man, I'm watching that tape and I'm throwing something at the chalkboard, because that's, like you said, that's the last thing. That's not an indictment on the players. You could take it, but it's an indictment on the coaches, because you coach what you allow. And it seems like everyone is saying about this team or this defense, guys weren't ready to go. They're lazy. And that shouldn't be the case. But that wasn't my question. When I look at the New England Patriots and the Titans, I think New England is a better team, but I don't think they're 20 points better than the Titans. When you are a bad team, which the Titans are, you can have 4 plays that pretty much doom you. What I'm talking about is the 2 missed assignments on the long touchdowns. I am talking about the Cam Ward fumble and then the kick out of bounds that ended up with them scoring one of those touchdowns in Snead's area. So when you look at this team, do you look at it from that standpoint? Because yes, they're a bad team, but even bad teams can win games if they do what's right.
Yeah, it depends on why they're bad. If they're bad because their talent isn't good enough, or at least in certain key areas, they have to upgrade the talent because they're just going to get beat man-to-man, and whether it's a blocker or whether it's a defensive lineman trying to hold his gap or whatever it might be. And you understand that. And really, I never get mad at teams like that, because you know what? Unless you're the very best in the league at what you do and you play at 100% of capability every single time, then you're going to get beat. Sorry. You're going to face somebody better than you, and you're going to get beat from time to time. And so that just happens. So I understand that part. And so as I look at the Titans, as I look at any NFL team or player, I look at it from that perspective. Is each player getting the most out of what he can do against that opponent over there? And if he is, and then he gets beat, it's like, okay, well, that's the best he could do. At least I can see him fighting. Show me the fight, and then everything is good. And the thing about the Titans is that they too often they're not in the right place doing the right thing, which would force the opponent to beat them to make a play. Too often there's no Titan around. You talked about those long touchdown passes. You talked about DK not putting any kind of a speed bump at all in front of Chason, so he ended up right in Cam Ward's face right off the bat. I mean, for goodness sake, these are things that you should force it to be harder on your opponent to beat you and make you look bad, right? And this is what I worry about with the Titans. This may be the worst team in the last 25 years, but I don't see any way this is the least talented team in the last 25 years. I don't see that at all. Now, go back to a couple of years ago when I kind of made a stink when I was watching Treylon Burks, former Titans wide receiver, in practice during the offseason, in my opinion, being very lackadaisical with how he handled the ball. Not that he wasn't running full speed all the time. You don't do that in practice all the time. But when you're a receiver and that ball comes in, you've got to treat it like the Super Bowl every time, or you're going to train yourself to be lackadaisical from time to time with the ball. And that's not a good thing. And Derek, you might disagree with me because you played that position and I didn't. But I'm extrapolating what I did as an offensive lineman when we were going walk through and half through with our technique and stuff like that. And everybody got mad at me because, hey, it's just a walkthrough. Well, not a walkthrough, but it wasn't a full speed drill. The thing is, in practice, if you practice without having the precision and the urgency of focus that this rep, that the Super Bowl will depend on, whether it's a full speed rep or a walkthrough rep, still your technique, your footwork, where your hands are, all those things need to be urgently focused, no matter whatever speed you're going, or else you're training yourself to fail because, like the Marines say, it's not, when everything starts to go south, you don't perform to the level of your desire. You degrade your performance to the level of your training. That's why they train at the highest level, always. That's why, as a long snapper, for goodness sake, once in a while the holder and the kicker would want me to give them some bad snaps so they could practice bad snap drill. What would happen if the snap is bad? Well, will the holder be able to get it down? Will the kicker be able to hesitate and then kick? All those things. And I always told them, get somebody else to do that. I know it's important, but I am never once, ever going to give you anything other than my very best. Ever. Because otherwise I'm training the wrong thing. So go back to these Titans. How often do you see a Titans player either be in the wrong spot or be in the right spot doing the wrong technique without enough effort, and it makes it easy for the opponent? That's why they are what they are, and that's why opponents are saying what they're saying.
Trevor Maddux is with us. Trevor, I'm curious, as you look ahead for Vanderbilt now after the good win against LSU, how much different, what will be the key matchups as Missouri comes to town? Because looking at this game, it is like you're fighting to stay in the playoff race with all of these games that Vanderbilt's got left, and Missouri is bringing a lot to the table. So what about the matchup in your mind?
There's two things. One is that Vanderbilt's superpower is extending drives. They're one of the best in the country at third down conversion rate. A big part of that is Diego Pavia, the quarterback, who's able to make plays when there aren't plays to be there, to stay even with the chains, and then to convert third and fourth down. It's just fantastic what he's done. They've got to continue to do that because this is a very good defense that they'll be facing. But the other thing is we're going to learn an awful lot about how physical Vanderbilt's defense really is. They have shown themselves to be competitive at the SEC level, at the line of scrimmage on defense and on offense, by the way, but talking defense now. And they've been very good. But the most physical team that Vanderbilt has faced was Alabama. Alabama's lead running back, Jam Miller, averaged over 6 yards per carry against them. Well, here comes Hardy, one of the best running backs in the country for Missouri, and they're going to challenge Vandy. So we're about to find out now if Vanderbilt's defense really is ready for prime time or if they still have work to do.
Let's shift the focus. Your thoughts on where Tennessee can go from here. After losing to Alabama, Tennessee's schedule isn't going to maybe blow people away, chances to get a lot of those sexy wins. So it doesn't seem like there's room for another loss. Do they still have a pathway to get to the playoffs?
I think they do. Right now they've got 2 losses, and that's critical. I mean, you look at 2 things. One is that defensively, they're really good at getting after the quarterback. They're one of the best in the SEC at pressuring the quarterback, and that's important. And then their offense isn't just Joey Aguilar and the passing attack. They're also very balanced. Their rushing attack overall is very good. So they've got the chops. I mean, we can talk about the math, but they've got the chops to be able to get through it. Now that game against Oklahoma at home is going to be tough. And then of course they got Vandy at home to finish the season. And so, it's not going to be easy, but right now the two losses that they have against Georgia and Alabama, the committee won't hate. And if they're able to pick up a win over Oklahoma and Vandy and finish 10-2, I don't think there's any way you can keep Tennessee out of the playoff.
Do you think it could fall to where a 3-loss team with a really difficult schedule could get into the discussion for the last spot in the playoff?
I think that's possible because there are some teams whose schedules are absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, you can talk about Notre Dame. They lost a couple of top 10 teams in Miami and Texas A&M to open the season, but they've got those 2 losses. I don't know that they can afford to lose to anybody else on the schedule without the committee hating that loss. I think you're looking at a team like Oklahoma, for example, who lost to Texas with a quarterback who came back too early. Oklahoma's did from hand surgery, and they still have. So that's 1 loss for Oklahoma, but they still have Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, LSU. Now they could lose 2 of those, win 3 of them, and be that team that you said, Willie, that could be a 3-loss team that gets in anyway because of the quality of the wins that they did get.
Trevor Maddich has been our guest on D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick. He is brought to you each week by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trevor, great stuff as always. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Adam.
615-737-1025. We will react to what Trevor had to say and more. Coming up next, 615-737-1025. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick is presented to you by Bax Homeworks. Remodeling done right. Get a free estimate at baxhomeworks.com.
What does holding him accountable besides conversation look like in how you run things?
Well, like after every practice, after every game, you talk to every player, every coach. As a head coach, you address the team. As a coordinator, you address, the one of the three phases. And then as position coaches, you address your players. And our job is we're never criticizing the player. What we're doing, we're coaching the players. So we're trying to get the players to play to the best of their abilities week in and week out and help them be successful. That's what coaching is. And you can be hard on players, and then there's the opportunity at times you love them up. There's a lot of really good plays too. So you always got to, as players, you always tell them this, we're not criticizing. We're not at all. It starts with us as coaches. But the most important thing is we're trying to help you and help our football team become the best team we possibly can. You be the best player. So that's what we're going to do. And listen, there's going to be some mistakes. We're playing some good football teams, some really good players. You're going to get beat from time to time. You're going to get beat. That's part of the game. Okay, it's just a matter of doing all the little things right. Okay, so that we're all on the same page doing things.
That was Titans interim head coach Mike McCoy, I believe yesterday, talking about accountability. Mm-hmm. We asked Trevor Maddich this question. Derek, I want to ask you the same question because yesterday I pushed your button. Mm-hmm. I played that Kayshon Boutte clip because I knew it would set you off about the Titans' response to his long touchdown, the lazy play from the secondary in the corners. Mm-hmm. Michael Pittman Jr., when the Colts were here, the Titans are about to go to Indianapolis, said after the game he could tell during pregame warmups that the Titans didn't want to be there. So I'm wondering if you sense if the Titans have a commitment issue and if there's anything that this coaching staff can do about it.
I don't think it would be, I think, irresponsible of me to say they have a commitment issue.
But you did hear a player on the other team on Sunday basically call L'Jarius Sneed and others lazy.
Yeah, but I don't think that he said lazy secondary. He said lazy corner and
secondary
safety,
room, I
safety
believe. Or safety room, yeah.
Yeah, he was saying the corner and the safety were being lazy on that play. Mm-hmm. Which, hey, the film don't lie. Miscommunication, I don't know what it is, but neither one of y'all were playing at full speed, and he was. So he was running full speed one way, and y'all were running slowly one way, and he ran right by the both of you because there was no communication and no one. I was always taught if you are going to make a mistake in football, make it full speed. So at least your effort will not be questioned at all. Yeah, we may have to tell you what to do the next time or reiterate to you what you need to do, but I'm not questioning that you're not going 100 miles per hour, okay? And it doesn't seem like on that play that they were going 100 miles per hour. It seemed like they were going more 50 and Boutte was going 100. But when somebody says that, I don't think then that is an indictment of the whole team. That's an indictment on the coach. Like, if you got players that are not communicating, you have players that seem to be playing slow, you need to get somebody else in there that's going to play full speed, somebody that is going to know what to do. You can't have mistakes like that when you're a bad team, and you can't play slow when you're a bad team. You got to play fast. And that's what Boutte said. They were relaxing, basically. They were, out there like it was a stroll in the park almost. But I don't think that's a team thing because Jeffrey Simmons go 100 miles per hour.
Exactly.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Cedric Gray.
Exactly. Cedric
Cody
Gray.
Barton.
Cody Barton. Those young guys are going 100 miles per hour. Yeah.
Don't you think one guy can influence your perception?
But one guy could influence. And that's why I said yesterday, maybe they got rid of the wrong guy. Maybe they got rid of the wrong guy because it seems like, I'm sure the young guy wasn't an influence on the older guy. And if it seems like he's dogging it out there and he's more than just one play, then maybe y'all got rid of the wrong player. But I'm not going to look at or have a feeling toward one guy because he's not playing at the level that we believed he could play at. He's not playing at that level. I can't then put that on the whole team because Jeffrey Simmons is playing at that level. Gray is playing at that level. Cam Ward is giving it his all. Pollard is. That offensive line, they're doing the best. So those guys are committed. It's every once in a while there's guys that, kind of are not giving 100%. And it's unfair to me to put that on the whole team. Now, I can watch Snead and say, that wasn't 100%.
What did you think of Mike McCoy's answer there on how he preaches accountability?
Listen, you in this business, you have to have tough skin. And when I mean tough skin, I mean like tougher than alligator skin, like warrior skin, like whatever the toughest skin out that's what you got to have in this sport, because there's a bunch of alpha males running around, and I know better than you. No, you don't. Yes, I do. You did this wrong. Well, you got to be able to take the criticism or take the construction and move forward and understand we all are accountable to one another. That's all McCoy is saying. We're accountable to one another, and we have to be able to do that in this building in order. You show me a good team that doesn't have accountability, and I'll tell you that's a lie. There's no good team out there, none, unless they just happen like one-year wonders. But there's no good team, especially the ones that are consistent, that doesn't have accountability on and can't talk to the next person, and that next person say, okay, I may not like it, but that you're right. I got to do that. That's what I had on the teams we were on. We used to go at it all the time. You need to do this. Guys didn't take it. Was like, yeah, you go back and forth. But after that, we were done because you know what? You were right. So I need to come out and play the next play better or the next practice better.
One texter says that D-line was playing its ass off even without Simmons. Hell, it looked like the Patriots were sacrificing May in the fourth quarter. They were going to get that boy killed.
Yes, the defensive line started to pick up, and I hope that is a prequel to what's going to happen, further down the line.
By the way, I don't think we received any sort of update today on Jeffrey Simmons.
We haven't.
So we'll see what happens
so
tomorrow at practice.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yes.
If I would err on one side, to be he's not going to practice Wednesday, at least just to give him an extra day to rest. But if he does practice, that to me, that means he's going. You're not holding him back. So, but yeah, again, what Mike McCoy said, I think is right. You got to be able to, be held accountable. And as a coaching staff, this is the part that he may be behind the 8 ball in. You got to know how to approach each individual. You got to be able to talk to them and say what you need to say, but every individual isn't the same. So Brian probably had a better hand on that. And now what you're doing now is leaning on the veteran players and the coaches that have been there.
I do find it interesting, not just in football, but in all sports, how coaches go about holding different players accountable. Because as you said, Derek, different things work for different people. Yes. Some players want tough love.
Yes.
Some players want a coach who is going to bark at them and be incredibly critical of them. Some players prefer a softer touch. They want to be constructively criticized, but they don't want the whip, so to speak.
I think more players fall into that category now.
The latter category
in the last generation.
Yes,
I think there's less Bobby Knight kind of coaches out there because players have made it clear
they don't want it.
Yeah.
Listen, I had Robert Lynch at Mumford High School, and boy, oh boy, he would get on you. I mean, you would probably want to close your mother ears sometimes. He would get on you bad, but he loved you. He loved us all, but he would get on us. And then I had George Perlis. George Perlis told me one day, he said, I'm going to send you back to Detroit. And he said some other things too. If you don't, Nick Saban. What do you think I heard from Nick Saban? Same thing. I heard it. Nick Saban, So I've had coaches that, Heimerdinger, that I didn't say what you gonna say. So I mean, that tough love, I embrace it. Like, bring it on. Like, come on. Some guys can't deal with it. You say something wrong to them, they about to cry.
615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Predators General Manager Barry Trotz will join us live here at Barrel House for the first time this season. We haven't had a chance to talk to Barry face to face. He's approaching the desk right now. We will bring
Look
you
at all
Barry
dapper.
Trotz. Yes, as always. We will bring Barry Trotz to you. Coming up next, 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Ving at 1025 The Game.
Hey, a reminder from Loan Pronto, they got the lowest rates in 3 years when it comes to mortgage rates. So right now, if your mortgage rate was high and it's like, that wasn't ideal when I got my new house, etc., they're delivering the lowest rates in the last 3 years. So they've got a great program that I tell you about all the time on our show. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. You can get the mortgage rate down, get to a better fixed rate, and if you need home equity, you can get that cash in as little as 3 days. Pay off other high-interest loans that you might have, even skip your next 2 house payments. So these are all things that you can work to your advantage. So there's no wait, no hard credit pull up front. You probably won't even need an appraisal. So just call right now and get the lowdown, 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 for your free instant home appraisal, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, Spingen and Donick 1025, The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Bingen, David Janes, and Predators General Manager Barry Trotz joining us live at Barrel House. Barry, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How about you guys?
What do you think of Willie's Star Wars tie for Star
Looks
Wars
pretty
night?
good. I am impressed, Willie. Willie's not known for his style, but tonight you got
That's
some
right.
style.
That's right. Every now and then,
Yeah,
the blind squirrel finds an acorn, right?
that's right. You found one.
I found one.
So, Barry, I know that Brady Martin will be back in the lineup tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. And I want to start by allowing you an opportunity to address something that I've heard a lot of Predators fans grumbling about over the past week. And that's the usage of some of your young players. Martin back in the lineup tonight, scratched through the entire 4-game road trip in Canada. You were down a forward in Winnipeg on Saturday night. You chose to go with 7 defensemen instead of dressing Martin in that game. And it's not just Brady Martin, to be clear.
Yeah.
Joakim Kemmel, for instance, made the opening night lineup. 1 week later, sent back to the American League. You had him on the top line to start the game in Ottawa last week. The following game, if I'm not mistaken, scratched, and Tyson Jost at least started the game on the top line in Toronto. So how would you address those concerns with fans about the usage of some of your young players?
Well, I think one thing you have to understand is Tyson Yost, we picked him off waivers. We're a team that doesn't have a lot of depth at center. He's a guy that can play all 3 positions. He's really tied to Brady Martin. Brady Martin goes probably back to junior, for instance. Tyson Yost is our extra centerman. You can only have 23 guys on the roster. Guys like Kemmel, Wood, all those guys. You know, Kimmy was healthy. Woody was coming back from injury. So you have to manage your roster and you have to manage it early. There's a new rule in the league where you send a guy down. You can't just send him down on paper and call him back the next day. They got to go down and play a game. Milwaukee's not playing a lot of games. We wanted to get the people in. So, you know, Brady played the first 2 games at home. That's, as a coach, you can control that. You got the last line change unless you have an icing call for the most part. So really good comfort for Bruno. Going on the road, you know, this is a league. It's about winning. We're trying to win hockey games. You know, the last thing you want to do with a young player, especially on the road, which is harder, is, you know, we could say we go into Toronto and you put Brady on the ice and they put out Austin Matthews and Nyes and Nylander, and now he's not in a position to succeed. He's actually just trying to survive. That hurts his confidence. It hurts his trust with the coach. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to give him a shot. You know, he had a good development camp, or not development camp, a good rookie tournament. He had a good camp. He had the first 2 games, and now we want to take him on the road. So he sees life on the road. I was glad we didn't play him in Toronto. I just think that's too much for a young guy. The media, all that stuff. We just wanted him to get a sense of what it is to be on the road, what the players go through. And I was hoping he would get in 1 game. And that was the decision collectively that we decided, you know what, he's fine. He spent time with me up in the box, going over stuff, talking about stuff, walking back, hanging out with players, all that, working with our skills coach, seeing film. So he's always learning, and he's in a good spot. Like for him, you know, using his words, every day is a blessing to me because I didn't think I'd be around this long. There's only 3 players. There's Schaefer, Misa, and Brady that are still in the National Hockey League from this year's draft. He's 18 years old. We want to put him in a position where he can succeed. So probably would have liked to see him in 1 game, but I understand. We're trying to win hockey games. We're trying to collect points, and he's still learning. And if you think about it, we played 4 games in a week. So really 1 week of his life, he got to, you know, see Toronto, go through that process of being on the road in the National Hockey League, seeing how the guys prepare, seeing how they rest, seeing how they recover, all that stuff. Plus working with our development people, myself, all that, the coaches. So it's been a good week for him. Now he's going to get a chance to go back on the ice the plan for him is we're sort of day to day. You have 9 games, and if you want to play him in 9 straight games, then once you play the 10th game, then you're burning a year, and he's here for the year. A lot of teams, you're looking at San Jose, for instance. Misa didn't even play in the first 3 or 4 games. He was a second pick. Didn't play in the first 3 or 4 games. They were just trying to get him sort of used to the National Hockey League, being around it, and they finally played him in 1 or 2 games here. So every team has a different plan, and it depends on the personality. Is Brady going to be a top player? Absolutely. I believe that wholeheartedly. But we want him to have success all the way, so he doesn't take a step backwards and lose confidence. All that. If we have him go back to junior in the next few days, for instance, that's a win-win for us, because he made our team. He's opening day. He made our team based on a great training camp. But what happens in this league is it keeps ramping up. And it's an unforgiving league. And once you get stuck into a rut, you can't get out of it. It just is. So we're being very careful with Brady, and he's been terrific. I mean, he's a really good centerpiece player for us for a long time.
I hear what you're saying about wanting to put him in a position to succeed. You mentioned not playing him in Toronto last week, for example, going out and taking a face-off against Austin Matthews in the defensive zone, for example. But don't you need to see him in disadvantageous situations to get a feel for whether he's ready for this?
Yeah, at some point. We're just not at that point yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have 9 games, and then you want to strategically use them in the right sort of order, if you will, for your individual player. I can't tell you what San Jose's plan is or the Islanders' plan is. I can only tell you with our plan. So, we felt, we'll put them in a position, but we're also in the position to win. And we've got a lot of guys that spent some time in Milwaukee. We got them down. If you look at where we sit right now, we're probably going to get Nick Hague back. Our roster will go to 23. That's going to force someone out of our roster pretty soon if we get Marchessault back. So we're trying to manage the roster. The call-ups for us this year, and they're going to get great opportunities. Not even call-ups, but once our roster settles in, you've got Kemmel, you got LaRue, you got Schaefer, you got Edstrom, you got Wood. I mean, we've got a plethora of guys that are able to come up and play, and they're going to play because we didn't go out and sign a bunch of older AHL depth guys. In the past we've had Mark Jankowski, people like that, who've come up and eventually been with our team, but they were the call-up guys. They were the 27, 28-year-olds. We picked up Tyson Yost because he plays all 3 positions, and we're lean at center ice. So he's tied to Brady Martin more than he's tied to Kemmel, Wood, all those guys. So, I could see, once we make the decision on Brady, that, with Kemi, a Wood, a LaRue, a Schaefer, those guys, they'll come up and they'll get their opportunity. If they seize their opportunity, then they'll stay.
Brady Martin, as I hear you discuss it, and I think for people that can see it, he's in almost a case by himself. At 18, as you mentioned, there's only 2 other guys that are in the situation he's in, where if he's not here, he's got to go back to junior and play against kids his own age. So wouldn't you say Brady Martin is a lot different than that crop of guys you got in Milwaukee?
Exactly. Kemi and Woody and those guys have all they're older. They're 20, maybe 21. So they've got the advantage of time. Physically, mentally, hockey wise, they're ahead of Brady. But Brady's right there. He's here. But at the same time, we want to do what's right for him. I don't want Brady Martin playing 10, 11 minutes a night. To me, that would be a disservice. And if he's going to play 10 or 11 minutes a night, then I'd rather him play 20 minutes a night in junior and then have him here next year playing 15 a night.
Do you wish that there was a in between? I understand there's discussion about something in between where either a kid could go play college, which is now something that you could do if you didn't sign a contract, or send him to Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's going to be reviewed. The NHL and the CHL are talking about having a rule where a 19-year-old player can actually play in the In the American Hockey
AHL,
League, yeah. Right now, if you draft a European player, he can. He can do that.
So why would it be? I mean, so I guess it's because you're trying to preserve the junior system in Canada, right?
Exactly, and it's been the number one feeder system for our league for, the beginning of time, basically, in this league. And a guy like Brady is one of those guys that's in between. He could probably benefit from playing in the American Hockey League, but he would probably have a tough time in the American Hockey League as well, because it is a good league. It's a man's league, and you sort of get the cream always rises. It just does. And we've got a really young team there. I always say, unless you're the Crosbys, the McDavids, you're going to play right away. But the rest of the mortals on this planet are not. They're gonna play some, in the college, or they're going to play in a couple years in junior, and maybe in the American Hockey League, and maybe go up and down and all that. That's what most plans are for most guys, and it all depends on where you are as a team and what positions you have open. You look what I did this summer. I tried to fix our defense. I think I have. We haven't seen Nick Hague yet. He got hurt in the first exhibition game, but I think he's going to be a real good ad. Getting Perbix with Shea, they've been a really good group. Getting a healthy Roman Josi back and Adam Wilsby back. I mean, our defense can really skate, which on the back end right now, they can move pucks. They get a little different system with that we played that we didn't play last year. We're playing differently this year. So it allows us to be in the games all the time. I feel it allows Saros to be the Saros that we know. And then really right now, our forwards, we've got to get a little bit more from our forwards. Our bottom six have been really good. Done their role. We're going to need something on the power play. That's where you pay all of your big dogs, if you will. They get all the power play time. They're the guys that you pay to score the goals. They're the guys to be the difference makers. We need those guys right now. We need this on this home stretch right here, these 5 games, because we've got, we could be sitting here 4-2, but we're 2-1. We had the puck on our 6 a couple times on a breakaway in overtime. We score there. We'd have those points add up. So collecting points all the time is a good thing, but we could have a couple more points, and you get a couple more points right now, you'd be more on the top of the league than you would be in the middle.
I want to get back to the identity and the formula you guys will use in a minute. I've got one more, because you experience this as a coach, and you can understand what Andrew Burnett is going through. As you mentioned, this isn't a team that's just playing to throw young guys in there and develop. Like there are teams that are doing that, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned one in San Jose. They're just throwing the kids out there, and they're getting clobbered for now, and they hope that they will grow out of that. But you guys are in a different spot. So how tough is that for you as the GM, having been a coach, when you've got a guy like Kimmel, who's a little bit older? You're hoping that he's ready for the breakthrough. He's older than Brady Martin, right? He's been in the system, but there's that teetering of, do I trust him yet? Can he make an impact on the game yet? But at the same time, he's got to play in order to make that
successful.
breakthrough. Yeah.
It's a balance, and you're hoping when you that Kemi's going really good, when you call him up, and he has that confidence from Milwaukee, and he comes up and he has a little bit of success early, and then they start taking off, and that's what you're hoping. Every player, I don't know, I would probably say 90% of the young guys who come up, they'll have that first initial little pop because they're excited, and they'll bring some energy, and they might get an early goal and have some success, and it might last for 3, 4, 5 games, and then just sort of nosedives a little bit, and that's time when you got to get them back to Milwaukee. The second time they come up, they may not pop as quick, but they're just more consistent, and you can see them growing a little bit. They start looking like a National Hockey Leaguer. They play different. They act different. There's just like a glass ceiling that they get through. And then the third time, if they go down again, the third time, usually they look to stick. The 3 times a charm for them. And so that I see that's probably the path of 90% of the players. Situational is all, and injuries and opportunity is all different. But we're in a really good spot. I mean, when I set the plan, wanted to go to free agency, and get some guys to sort of hold us over for 2 years, if you will, so those young guys could get some, some maturity underneath them. Last year, it didn't go quite the way we wanted it to, so I started, changing things. I moved 11 players out last year. We went from being the second oldest team in the National Hockey League to, I think we're 14th in one year, based on what we've done. And we're going to get younger when, we've actually got older by sending Kemi and Woody down. We got older a little bit, but once they come up, we're going to be younger. And within 2 years, a lot of our roster is going to be in that 23 to 27 range, right in the wheelhouse. Now, we have a lot of draft choices. We've gone to the well at the draft. We've collected picks. They're not all going to play. They all have different ceilings. They all have different timelines. They all have different paths to their success. So we're just hoping that we're picking the right ones and helping them along in terms of their development. Now, we have other opportunities through trades and free agency and what have you, but our core, we have an older core right now of, say, Saros and Yos and Stammer and Phil. They're a little bit, just in that 30 or 30 above.
30-something sounds young to me.
Yeah, it sounds young to me too. But at the same time, we've got a whole core of guys that are, Brady Martin to the 22, 23 to Evange. And there's a whack of guys in there that are going to be the new core. And so people have to understand that we're trying to build a new core to supplement the old core right now, but the old core has to supplement the new core. And we have to reestablish that as a team. And I think this year, early results, but just the way we're playing and the attitude and all that, it feels a lot different. And I think we're on the right path.
Barry Trotz is with us. Barry, I want to ask you something I've been wondering about. You mentioned needing more from the difference makers on your team. Last season, your top 6 point scorers were all in their 30s. That was tied for the most in the NHL. Yeah. You've left a lot of goals on the table so far this season. This team has been held to 2 or fewer goals 4 times. I'm thinking of the second period in Winnipeg, for example. A lot of great chances that weren't able to get into the net. And I know that Connor Hellebuck is the reigning MVP for a reason. But here's something I'm wondering. I know the shooting percentage numbers are low. All of the fancy stats about goals saved above expected, those are not in your favor. But I'm wondering, because the majority of your go-to scorers are quote-unquote older players, that this might be who they are at this point.
It might be. But I think I know Stammer's going to get he's going to get his look. He's going to get his chances at the end of the day. You can count him in for X amount of goals. You can do that with Phil. But around the league, I would say, unless you're a rebuilding team or a team that's in a build like us, I would say most of the top scorers for every team are around that 30 or 30 plus around the league. They're the best. Connor McDavid's almost 30 years old. I mean, Draisaitl is almost 30 years old. That's when those players are been good players from age 25 and up. They've been exceptional players, but they've been the top players in the league. That's right across all the top teams. The younger teams are going to have younger scorers because you're picking higher in the draft and they're getting lots of opportunities. So they're going to put up points. Our older players take our first power play, for instance. All those guys that are a little bit older are on that first power play. And right now it's not that good. So we need them to produce. They're capable of producing. I mean, I can look at Phil, Stammer. I think Marchie's had a really good year. We missed him when he got hurt. I mean, he's really helped our team. He's helped that bunting Hall line. I think it's been one of probably our best line right through. So they're all capable. They still have goals in them, but right now they're a little bit dry, and we need them. At the end of the day, our scoring is going to come from our top players. If we're expecting our fourth line to score lots for us, well, we're dreaming in Technicolor here, and we need them to get their 30 goals, from our top guys, and the other guys chip in, and I think our defense is going to be able to chip in. We've always been a team that that sort of attacks from the back end with having Roman in the fold for so many years. So it's all, the pieces are all sort of there, but we're in one hell of a division. Probably the best in all of hockey. We play a lot of games against them, and I can't tell you what the scores are going to be, or how many wins or how many losses. But I can tell you that playing against those top teams night in and night out going to make us better, going to make our young guys better. I used to say when they had the young teams in the early days, and Detroit had the juggernaut, the best development coach that we ever had was the Detroit Red Wings, because they were so much better than us, and they made us better in a hurry. So that's part of the process we'll have to go through. There'll be some nights we'll be over our skis, and some nights you're going to love this team because they don't give up. I mean, I can tell you on the road trip there was no give up. I mean, in that, I didn't like our first period in Winnipeg, but you saw the second and third. We were good. We just couldn't score, and then you're chasing the game.
That's the last thing I was going to ask you, Barry, was about that identity that you're hoping for. It's clear that the formula looks like defending better. You might have to win a game 2-1 or 3-2. More nights than you're going to win 5-4 or 6-5. And if the players buy into that, if you could be opportunistic on offense, that seems to be the key. Do you feel like the team is rallying around that? Are you starting to see an identity form? This is how they're going to win?
Yeah, I think if you talk to the coaches, they look for different parts of identity, but you just talk about parts of the game. Like our 5-on-5 game last year was not very good. I thought our power play was okay. It wasn't top end, but it was pretty solid. Our penalty kill was really solid, but our 5-on-5 play never gave us a chance to win. This year, I would say our 5-on-5 play has given us a chance to win every game. Where we've slipped is on the power play. Our goaltending is good. Our defense are much more mobile. They move the puck. They kill plays a little quicker. So there's pieces there. We just got to get the power play going. And our top guys, just because they spend a lot of time on that, just finding the back of net. Our mentality last year was we were going to outscore everybody, and that was the worst mentality you could have. Is you think you're going to. I remember one year, I think it was the first year we got Korea, and we started out the year. Everybody was going, "Oh man, we're going to score." We got Sullivan and Korea, and the games are going to be fun. We're going to be winning like 6-5 and 7-6 and all that. Well, yeah, we scored. I think 6 the first night and lost 8 or 9-6.
I remember that.
The second game, I think we scored 6 and lost 8-6. So, we gave up 17 goals in 2 games. Well, you're not going to win too much, and we scored a lot, but we weren't going to win a lot. So, changing that mentality took a couple of weeks, and once we got it turned around, we were a pretty good team.
Predators general manager Barry Trotz has been our guest on D-Mace, Vingen, and Donick. He joins us every Tuesday at 5 o'clock during hockey season. Barry, great to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Good luck tonight.
All right, we'll take any luck we can get. That's part of the game.
We need the force.
We need the force.
Star Wars.
Willie's tie.
That's right. That's going to be the key.
Would you guys like to switch ties before you go?
Pardon?
Would you like to switch ties?
Not a chance.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
Very good to see you. 615-737-1025. Well, we will react to Barry Trotz's interview coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen, 1025 The Game.
All right, let's tell you about F&M Bank quickly. Banking made easy on purpose. That is our motto, and that is what has us every Friday at 5:45 taking it to the bank. Brought to you by our friends at F&M Bank. They hope to take some of the burden off your shoulders in your financial life. It's complicated enough. Your life is. So why make your finances more complicated than they need to be? So give them a shout by going to their website, myfmbank.com. Just go over there. They want to have a relationship with you. It's always good to have a real person in your town that you can call, you can text, you can email when stuff comes up and you need a little help with your financial plan. They've got those people. 20 locations in the listening area. Just go to myfmbank.com. We take it to the bank every Friday at 5:45. Thanks to our friends at F&M Bank. Member FDIC.
D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5 The Game. Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. Willie Donick has gone upstairs at Bridgestone Arena as he prepares to call tonight's game between the Nashville Predators and Anaheim Ducks. Puck drop at 7, pregame at 6 with Max Hers, starting right here on 102.5 The Game. First of all, let me tell Vandy fans, it's time to party. The Commodores are ranked in the top 10, and ESPN's Game Day is coming to Nashville. To celebrate, 102.5 The Game will be broadcasting live this Friday from noon to 6 at the new Party Foul near Vandy in Midtown at 2031 Broadway. So I guess we know where we're going to be on Friday.
Absolutely.
Plus, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to the sold-out game against Missouri this Saturday. So come on out to the all-new Party Foul in Midtown this Friday from noon to 6. I just found that out, so I'm quite excited about that.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
But we had Barry Trotz on the program, live and in living color for the first time. And there is a lot, I don't know if concern is the right word. That is the word I used. A lot of grumbling, perhaps, from Predators fans. Fans love to grumble, not just Predators fans. All fans love to grumble. Some grumbling about how the Predators are using Brady Martin. He's 18 years old. He played the first 2 games at home. He was scratched throughout the 4-game road trip last week. He's back in the lineup tonight. You have to keep in mind, as Barry Trotz laid out, that there are limited options for Brady Martin. He is ineligible for the American Hockey League. If he could be sent to the Milwaukee Admirals, he probably would already be there. But because of rules between the NHL and the Canadian Junior Leagues, he can't go to the American League this season. So if the Predators decide, Brady, we're sending you back to your junior team, that's where he has to stay until the junior season is over, which means you won't see him until the end of the NHL regular season at the very earliest. But one thing I would like to see more of from Brady Martin is I would like to see him, as I said to Barry Trotz, in more disadvantageous situations. He mentioned Toronto last weekend, or last Tuesday, I'm sorry. Last Tuesday, they were in Toronto. And we know Toronto, they've got some studs at forward, starting with Austin Matthews. And Brady Martin, being an Ontario kid, going to Toronto, the center of the hockey universe, having to take a defensive zone draw against Austin Matthews is not the best place for an 18-year-old, but that's how you learn, right? By being put in those situations where everything isn't being tailored for you. So I will be watching closely how the Predators use Brady Martin tonight. The Anaheim Ducks are an interesting team because they do have a lot of those younger players, you know, in their early to mid-20s. The Ducks haven't made the playoffs in several years. They've been building. But they also have a lot of veteran players, too. They've added a lot of veteran players over the years. For example, Chris Kreider, a great member of the New York Rangers for a long, long time. He's now with the Anaheim Ducks, for example. So I'm interested to see how the Predators deploy Brady Martin tonight, now that they're back at home, now that Andrew Burnett can dictate the matchups. I want to see how they go about doing this. Let's go to Nate in Columbia on our phone line, driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Nate, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Hey, guys. The problem with Adams' request is, and we all want to see him in advantageous situations, is that he'll get not necessarily benched, but demoted the moment he's put in those inadvantageous situations because of the head coach. Plain and simple.
Thank you for the call,
Thank
Nate.
you. You want, when you're dealing with a rookie at any sport, you have to be very careful on how you sort of bring him along or her along. It don't matter. You got to be very careful because you want things to, especially in the regular season, you want things to sort of organically happen. And in his situation, it's rare. You know, I'm not going to say it's unusual, not rare, because it does happen in hockey where a guy is young, but he can't, you can't send him to one of the minor league teams. He has to play in a certain division because of his age. Well, you have that going on with Brady Martin. So your thing isn't to sort of put him in disadvantageous situations. It's to put him in situations where he's going to thrive because he's so young. You don't take a young player or your baby and just throw him out and say, I'm just going to throw you over there with all those kids for the first time and see how you handle it. No, you want to slowly sort of, bring them into sort of that environment. That's the same thing with Brady Martin. Because you only got 9 games. Right. Yeah, you hope that in those 9 games that you choose to put him in, that you're putting him in situations that are beneficial for him. But if there is a situation that comes up, he can try to navigate himself around that instead of just throwing him out there to the Wolves. Say if they were playing Colorado first game of that, just throw him out there, or the Panthers, just throw him out there. That may kill the kids, that may kill any confidence that the kid thought he gained through, preseason and practice. I get what you're saying. Like, hey, listen, let's try the best way we can, try to put him in this bad situation, see how he reacts. You do that in preseason. It's harder to do it in the regular season because not only are you putting him in a disadvantageous situation, you're putting everybody else in one as well.
And here's the thing as well, and Barry Trotz said it during his interview. Mm-hmm. And I know some Predators fans aren't going to like this response. And I, too, am skeptical of this approach. Let me be clear. The Predators are trying to win games. If the Predators were in a position where they were more focused on the future and this season really didn't matter, mm-hmm. We're rebuilding. We're going to throw the kids in head first, see if they sink or swim. Whether or not we win games, that's secondary to seeing if these players can hang in the NHL. If that was the way the Predators were doing things, I could see Brady Martin playing more.
Okay.
The Predators, as Barry said, are trying to win games. Mm-hmm. And there are plenty of Predators fans who do not like that approach. This is how I feel about this team. I told you on opening night, I don't think this team has much of a chance to make the playoffs. I think their path to the playoffs is as narrow as a tightrope. And I think you saw on that road trip the limitations of this team. Some of the stuff under the hood looks better. Mm-hmm. Some of the fancy stats, the process stats, some of that stuff looks better, but they're still not scoring goals. As I asked Barry Trotz, I am concerned that the older players on the team, like Steven Stamkos, for example, they're just not the same players they used to be. Their scoring touch isn't as prevalent anymore. So, yes, they're leaving a lot of goals on the table. I'm not sure they have it within them to score those goals. So it's threading a needle that is incredibly difficult to thread. And I want to see Brady Martin get a real run. And I know what Barry Trotz is saying, that the longer they leave him out of the lineup, the more time they have. Although Elliot Friedman did mention on our show last week, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, like Brady Martin is still accruing service just being on the roster. Mm-hmm. And that leads to being closer to free agency. I don't remember the rule off the top of my head. But I would just like to see Brady Martin really get some good playing time. The last time he played against Utah a couple of weeks ago, I think he had like 10 minutes of ice time. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how much that benefits him. 615-737-1025. Our phone and text lines are driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. We'll take your reaction to our interview with Barry Trotz. We will also wrap up the show. Coming up next, 615-737-1025. DVD is proudly presented by Bax Homeworks. Financing options are available to make your remodel easier than you think with Bax Homeworks. Get a free estimate at baxhomeworks.com.
Happy Tuesday, which means it's a Predators Day. Home game tonight. Check them out. Hey, but this is Derek Mason, and you heard me tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at CoolSpringsMD.com. Cool Springs MD for some time now. And if you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a goal to shed some extra pounds, only to face disappointment. But I got some good news. It's real good news, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize a program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
D. Mace, Fingan, and Donick, 1025. The game. Willie Donick, Adam. No, Willie Donick's not here.
Yeah, but it's still Willie Donick.
Willie Donick is here in spirit.
Yes.
Max Hers is here in the flesh. He will have your pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock as he cracks open a Coke. And is this your pregame ritual, Max? No, you just want a Coke? Oh, thanks for the water, bud.
You just needed.
Oh, that's not for me?
You just needed the caffeine or something? Okay, there we go.
You know, Max, he's a busy man. He's a busy man. And Max will have your pregame coverage starting right here at 6 o'clock on 1025. The game. One texter on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, says the NHL draft is a scam. We don't have 2 years. Another Titan scenario. Bummer. Well, in the NHL, it's much different than the NFL because, of course, there are developmental leagues in the NHL. There are not developmental leagues in the NFL. RIP NFL Europe.
Yes.
Well, would you consider what is it? The UFL?
Nope.
That's not a development
because there's not enough guys coming out of that league that are segueing into the NFL. A few are, but not enough to call it a feeder yet.
What about the CFL?
Definitely not. No. Not to say that it's not good football. It is, but they're not a feeder either.
The CFL is adopting NFL rules, I heard.
Yeah, but it's going to take a minute for them to be a feeder, unless the NFL wants to get into the Canada market. And I'm not sure Canadian football is going to allow that. That'd be a hard one to try to, take over. So,
well, Tim Hasselbeck, friend of the show, friend of the
Yes.
station. He is an alum of NFL Europe.
There we go.
He has that helmet proudly.
I wish they still
in
had
his
NFL
background.
Europe. I wish they did. It would be good for development for a lot of guys.
He played. I just want to remind myself which NFL Europe team.
Was it Barcelona?
The Berlin Thunder.
Yeah, Berlin Thunder.
The Berlin Thunder of NFL Europe. That is
Yes.
Tim Hasselbeck's team. Jeff on our text line says, I thought Barry was really transparent. Brady is getting his experience in 9 very sheltered games where every single thing he does is controlled. He is not ready to drive NHL play yet. He is not strong enough for the NHL grind either. I hear what you're saying, Jeff. I don't think anything you're saying is wrong. I would just like to see, perhaps selfishly, I would like to see Brady Martin in a situation where things aren't being controlled for him in the way that Jeff is describing. By the way, in 2 games, Brady Martin has averaged 11 minutes, 42 seconds of ice time. So not a ton, but we'll see what happens tonight. As I said, the Anaheim Ducks are they're a good mix. They're a good mix of young upstarts with a lot of promise and some well-traveled veterans, tough players. So it will be a good test for the Predators as they open a 5-game homestand. They will be here tonight, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and next Tuesday.
Man.
So a lot of home cooking for the Predators as they look to bounce back from a 1-2-1 road trip that ended 0-2-1. Nate on our text line, this might be the same Nate who called, said, holy hell, 10 minutes, that's all? That's like me going in on my first day at my new job and working for like maybe an hour, if that. That doesn't do any good. So, look, Barry Trotz knows more about hockey than I'll ever know. And I may not agree with everything that Barry Trotz says, but I can understand his viewpoint on Brady Martin. I think I want to see what happens tonight. I want to see, now that they're back at home, how the Predators use him. Joey from Bellevue says the Frankfurt Galaxy was his favorite NFL Europe team.
Yeah, man.
I don't know much about NFL Europe. I can name all of the CFL teams, though, but I am not going to bore you with that.
I love watching NFL Europe back when it was going on.
Yeah.
I think it was going on right when did the NFL Europe start up? Was it 90?
No clue.
It might have been earlier in the 90s.
I was all in on the original XFL, though.
But I know it was early on in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it might have been my first or second year. I thought that I may be going one of those years, like my first or second year. But never.
It started in 1991.
Yeah, so I thought I got drafted in 97. So I thought I was going to be one of those guys like after my first year going to my second year was going to be one of the guys that they said, hey, you need to go develop, some more. But they didn't. And I guess I was developing a way they wanted me to.
I think you turned out okay.
Yes, I turned out great. So there you go.
We will get more into Cam Ward tomorrow. By the way, Jason McCourty will join us right off the jump tomorrow at around 3:05. He called the Titans game this past weekend. I believe he is also calling the Titans game this weekend at Indianapolis. Of course, a former member of the Tennessee Titans. So we will get Jason McCourty's thoughts on the Titans.
I would love to hear what he has to say about what Booty said. And I know that to be at the top of, at the top of the question.
As a former member of a secondary?
Exactly. What did he think about what Booty said? And did he see it the same way? Because that'd be interesting to come from a guy that has played on that side of the ball I think he played, or did his brother? I think he played both corner and safety, or did his brother play both corner and safety? One of them switched from corner to safety later in his career after he left and went to another team. It might have been.
He's listed as either a cornerback or a defensive back on Pro Football Reference. Jason, yes.
Yeah, so it may have been. Yeah, it may. Yeah. No, it was the other. It was the other McCourty.
Devin.
It was Devin that played some corner, I think, and then safety.
So we'll have Jason McCourty right off the jump tomorrow at 3:05. Jonathan Hutton will join us at 5. Of course, silly underdog picks. Don't get me started. Chris Sanders actually won a game. It's my worst nightmare. Worst nightmare.
If you would have saw that game, Adam, because I know that you probably didn't think that the Tulane would mean UAB would beat.
No, I thought it was
We don't have to talk about the game.
Man,
guys.
that
No,
was
we
a
don't
wild
have to
game.
talk
No,
about this.
That was a wild game.
It's
I
my
know.
worst. It's my worst nightmare. Chris Sanders won a game and has passed me in the standings, so I will have to try to get back on the right track tomorrow. But
Hal was a winner too.
Hal won as well. You and I, we lost.
Yes.
We lost.
Well, technically, Max won.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
Max
Max
won.
won, and therefore I think that Max should get Hal's points, and
Well,
Hal
Hal
should not
should-
get any points.
There should be a -2 points for Hal.
I also think, and I will present this to the commissioner tomorrow, I will point out that he referred to me as Alex last week, and therefore Alex made the pick, and therefore Adam doesn't get charged.
What did I tell you? Hey, listen, Adam, if you come with a strong enough
I will do
be
that.
on your side.
I will do that.
You may be able to sway me.
Josh on our text line says maybe the Titans should have treated Cam Ward the way the Predators are treating Brady Martin. It's two totally different situations. We had a text earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been yesterday, actually. Is it too late to sit Cam Ward? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Unless his injury.
look,
but yeah, it's too
I know
late to
that
do
the Carolina Panthers recently sat Bryce Young
last year, but he was playing bad
Right,
football,
but
like really bad.
Is Cam Ward not also playing
Not as
bad
bad
football
as
right now?
Bryce Young was playing. Whew.
Maybe I'll look into that.
And a lot of it was.
But he
the
also
things
had
around
a
him.
real backup quarterback. It was
Yes,
Andy
Dalton,
Dalton and
yeah.
not Brand. It was Andy
Dalton.
Dalton and not Brandon Allen.
Exactly.
But I don't think the Titans can sit Cam Ward at this point, because that would be an admission of failure. If you sit the number 1 overall pick quarterback after he goes 1-6, and you put in Brandon Allen, you are more or less admitting that you made the wrong choice.
Yeah. So now you just got to ride with it.
Right. You have to save face. So, but look, I heard Chase ask this question on the Chase and Big Joe show as the question of the day, because it's a question that's been out there. Is Cam Ward hurtling toward bust status? And it hasn't gone well for Cam Ward so far. And I know there are plenty of examples of young quarterbacks with a lot of promise that struggled early, who turned out okay. You know, I'm not ready to sit here and declare that Cam Ward is a bust. I'm not ready to do that. But I certainly am concerned about things that I've seen from Cam Ward, specifically his turnovers, more specifically his fumbles where he loses the ball and he isn't being touched, which has happened twice in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that's not going to make me think that he's going to be some type of bust. I don't know where the conversation of him being a bust, why that has even started. When you talk about bust, it's like you got to let's look at the whole season before we start calling people bust. I got the Star Wars. They're after me. The evils. They're putting their lifesavers in front of me. No, I just think that he's far. Like, let's not even start that conversation, man. That's one of those conversations that, yeah, of course, it's going to get some traction, but that's not even a conversation. We are so like far from that conversation. It's not even funny to say or throw out the question: is he trending toward being a bust? If the roster was a lot better and he was playing bad, then okay, we can say in about 3 or 4 weeks possibly have that conversation. But this roster's not good, and everybody sees it. So if you see what I'm seeing, there's no way that question can even be approached right now to say are we trending toward him being a bust, or is it fair to open up that question now? No, it's not. We are so far from that. It's pathetic.
I know. I hear what you're saying.
But I understand in a sense why, because we see all this stuff that's going on, and we've talked about all this stuff, and we're going to continue to talk about it. What is the one thing that we haven't mentioned?
What's that?
The bust. Like, that's one thing that, because it's almost like if these things were happening like slowly, like the deterioration of the team slowly, we wouldn't get to bust until like next year. But because this stuff is happening so fast, the ineptness of the roster, the head coach being fired, giving up play calling, all this stuff that has been so dysfunctional about this organization. We've had it all, and it's been set right in front of us. And now we're like, okay, we know all of this. What's the next thing? Oh, we could talk about Cam Ward being possibly a bust. No, let's get through this stuff first. This stuff is still here. Let's get through this stuff first before we start labeling him anywhere close to a bust.
But it's not completely in his control.
Yeah.
We talked at the beginning of the show about the Titans coaching search. If the Titans can't find the right coach, that will affect Cam Ward's development. If the Titans can't draft well and can't find Cam Ward weapons, and the Titans can't protect Cam Ward, then these things which are out of his control could lead to him becoming a bust.
Yeah, but I think we are.
Like, I don't remember, for example, let me ask you this, because
Okay.
you'll remember this because it was during your career. David Carr. David Carr comes up a lot. He played for an expansion team, but he was sacked so friggin' much. And correct me if I'm wrong here, that played a significant role in where his career went.
Of course, it was the organization that he was with.
Right.
And, everything that was happening around him. And
that's what I'm saying about Cam Ward. Cam Ward can put in all the work. Cam Ward can try to improve his accuracy and his footwork and his ball control and all of those things. But if the Titans continue to be a tire fire, there's only so much he can do.
But David Carr went through 3-4 seasons with the Houston Texans, I think, before they considered him a bust. So let's get past season 1 first before that conversation is being had. But I do agree. Listen, they need to clean up stuff around him so he will not start trending that way.
We will pick up this conversation tomorrow. Predators pregame with Max Hers is coming up next. Predators versus Ducks, puck drop at 7. Pregame in just a matter of moments right here on 102.5 The Game.
Smack that quack. The duck.
All right. I think we got to get out of here.
No, hey, listen, I love you all. We love you. Have a wonderful, blessed day. I love you. The team love you. You hear that song. Don't forget about us ever. We will be back tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. Peace.